Good evening and welcome to the main stage here at the MODUS Super Series, where it is finals night tonight, where we're going to induct our 10th name into the Champions Week field. And we're going to do it in the company of Chris Mason, as we have done all week. And a very warm welcome to the 2010 Players Champion, Paul Nicholson. Paul, this week has been an incredible week. We've had highs, lows, a little bit of everything.
We have indeed, and I think one of the best things about it is the eclectic mix of the players that we've had. I think if you look at the start of 2021, obviously, because of the pandemic, we had a lot of people from the UK and we couldn't invite people from other countries, but I think we're starting to get more of an international flavour, and that international talent is definitely showing what they're capable of.
Indeed, especially when you look at the nationalities on show here this evening. Germany, France, it's a very European mix.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course they'll be over there watching their local favourites playing this, and a lot of the European players now will want to join in and get their name on the list and play on this fabulous stage.
Josh Payne goes in tonight as the bookmaker's favourite. Rightly so in your eyes?
Yeah, I think so. He doesn't fail to make a Saturday night. He's done it again. And he had a near miss, of course, back in week 4, losing it to Daryl Pilgrim. It's a game he should have won, so he should have been in Champions Week. But I don't think we can ignore anybody tonight. I think Venig's going to be strong. And I love what Mace was saying earlier in the week about the Group A curse. And you look at what Graham Hall did in week 3. He got his way through to Champions Week, but ordinarily the people who win Group A just don't go through. But Josh is going to be feeling very fresh, only playing 2 days coming into this, so rightly a favourite for me.
Yeah, and I think we've got to be a little bit careful with the players that have played all 5 days, because we've seen yesterday, although a lot of players found some much better form than they shown on the Monday, you could see fatigue was playing its part.
Well, we speak all week, Chris, about this tournament being a marathon, but this really is the sprint at the end of the marathon once we get to Saturday night.
Yeah, it's completely opposite end of the spectrum, isn't it? It's, quick-fire darts, almost like knockout darts, really. You sort of get one bite of the cherry. You don't win that opening game, it's out of your hands.
And you look at the two groups that we have this evening. Group 1, pick that if you want.
You could say that for most of the groups that we're getting on Saturday night now. I mean, look at what happened a couple of weeks ago when we had a 9-dart shootout and everybody was on the same amount of legs won, leg difference and the points. It's conceivable that that could happen again tonight, but I think the majority of the time people are going to go for the people who have had success on Saturday nights previously. So you're looking at Warburton, you're looking at Payne, and maybe it's somebody else's turn. Yeah,
I like Lukas. Payne is the right favourite just because he's experienced this on a Saturday night. But Lukas's progression, and especially what we've seen him do on the Euro Tour stage, he could be the one to challenge either Warby or Josh Payne. But I agree with Paul. You can't write anybody off over this format because it is knockout darts. And don't forget about Thibault Tricole tonight, because we've already had maybe the biggest French dart story in history this weekend with Jacques Larbe winning the Europe Cup singles. So I know that Thibault's going to come into this really inspired tonight.
And just finally, obviously for Josh and Mike, this is their second opportunity. Have both made finals, both been runners-up early on in this phase. Is there a difference of psychology for the players here for the first time this phase compared to the second, because they know they got no second chance?
Yeah, both me and Paul talk about luggage, and when it's negative, it's hard to discard it or lose it. Though plenty of luggage is being lost nowadays, that is some luggage you want to lose. But you know, it will play its part. There's no negativity for a lot of the players coming into this, where those two, there is some negative memories. And again, it's all about managing those. It is a fascinating mix of players. Gavin Carlin, who started slowly in the week, as did Davy Proston. Remember, he played some absolutely fabulous darts, but left himself a little bit too much to do. So Gavin is the one that will be having lots of confidence. You know, this guy was a tour card holder in 2019 through to 2021. He's played at the highest level, as has Josh Payne.
Well, we've got these two legends in the commentary box this evening. Paul's going to join me up on the balcony from 10 o'clock. I hope you can join us. It's the finals of Week 10 here at the MODUS Super Series. Good evening and welcome to the grand finals of the MODUS Super Series here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. By the end of play this evening, we'll etch our 10th name into the Champions Week field. One of 6 can do so this evening. Let's have a look at the best of our highlights so far this week. About a minute on this. You look good in vision. And so that is how we got to Saturday night here at the MODUS Super Series. And to reflect on everything we've seen and to look ahead to the action we've got later on tonight, we've got the asset, Paul Nicholson, alongside me, the former Players Champion. Paul, let's go back to the very beginning of the week and discuss Group A, Group 1 by Lukas Wenig, the German, and he did so in some style, didn't he?
Did so with games to spare. You've got to admire that. And now, because we're on Saturday night's action imminently, you have to talk about what he's done the last couple of days while other people have been playing. If he's sharp tonight, he's going to take some stopping, but the ruthless format of tonight will really find out what he's made of at the main end of a week. But the first 3 days, he was fabulous, and winning it by a few games as well. It just goes to show what kind of progress he's made in 2022.
As you say, he did it in some style. Let's have a look at some of his highlights from the first 3 days. This is him getting the better of Thibault Tricole, who we're actually going to see face off against each other in the first game of this evening's session. How important do you think are the best of 3 series that you see on Monday to Wednesday dictating tonight's matters?
It does make a difference, because when you're up against someone that you haven't played that often previously, or maybe never even before, getting the rhythm against a certain player might be really key. Just have that experience earlier in the week and just to figure out what pace you need, what kind of patience, and the fact that Lukas is going to have that tonight in the bank, it could be key for him.
Well, let's have a look and see how Group A finished up in the end. As you can see, Lukas Wenig winning it by 6 points. It really was a comprehensive week win.
It really was. I mean, 24 points for a possible 30 is a very stellar effort. Not a record, because the record is 28. But when you only lose 3 matches out of 15, you've got to start taking notice of what someone can possibly do. And look at the talent he was up against. I mean, Franz Röhrch is definitely going in the right direction. We know how good Tricole is, being a WDF World Championship runner-up. But Davy Proston, I think we were talking a little bit earlier in the evening, maybe just left himself a bit too much to do in the end. But definitely can go away from this week with definitely his tail up with the experience now.
As you see, Scott Bacon, Gavin Carlin finishing 2nd and 3rd. They're into Group B. The other players made it through to Group C, a group which was won in the end by Josh Payne. He was the favourite going into this week, and in the end, the bookies weren't wrong in Group C, at least anyway.
When you're talking about Josh, you're talking about someone who loves playing in this format. His win percentage, not just this week, which was at 90%, but his overall win percentage this year is phenomenal. It's over 60%. He's got a great running average, just loves to play best of 7 darts, and that's why he's going to be the favourite coming into tonight, because he never fails to make the Saturday. It's just now about what he does on Saturday night that's going to be really key for his chances of making Champions Week.
Well, we saw some blockbuster stuff from Josh Payne, including this 108 out against Franz Röhrch earlier on in the week. And I just feel like, I don't know about you, that this Saturday night format, I think, suits him. These short course races, 1st to 4, he's got to be quick out the blocks, otherwise he's going to be eliminated. Showing
some board versatility there as well, and maybe some of the older players or even the less experienced players wouldn't have gone that route for that 108 when your 57 shot is blocked. So I think it's key that he's got experience. He's obviously a 2-time winner in the PDC circuit, so the excellence is there. But tonight, cutthroat format, he's done it before. He's got 3 Saturday night wins, or should we call them Sunday morning wins. But recently, he has had a couple of less prevalent Saturday nights, let's put it that way. So maybe he's due one, and that's probably why he's the favourite.
Well, Scott was joined in that group, so sorry, Josh was joined in that group by Thibault Tricole. This is the table in the end. Thibault Tricole 4 points behind Josh. Had to sweat it out up until around the final round of fixtures, but it's been a good week for French darts already. Can it continue tonight?
Well, why not? I mean, what a story over the last 24 hours for Jacques Larbe, a good friend of Thibault's, who's gone and won the Europe Cup singles, which is an incredibly big story for French darts. But sometimes these things just happen, don't they? And the inspiration levels that Thibault's going to have tonight, he's probably never been so inspired in his whole career.
Most certainly that. So that was Group C. The evening sessions were dictated by matters in Group B, and it was Mike Warburton who came out the victor in the end from that group. One of those players as well who's in that second chance saloon. He knows if he doesn't win tonight, he's out of the process altogether. Does that change the psychology of a player?
I'm not so sure. I think on some level it probably does. You think that if you get second spot, you might get an invitation back for a second chance, but knowing that it is your final chance, you know there's a little extra urgency there. But Mike, very much like Josh, has got a lot of Saturday night or Sunday morning experience with us, but he's only got across the line once, whereas Josh has done it 3 times. So maybe not as likely for Mike, but we can never rule him out. He's got incredible technique and he's ultra confident, so that's why tonight's so exciting.
And we saw at times Mike Warburton just getting the job done, doing what he had to do. And in this format tonight, just get what you need to do. Just get the results. OK, you want to win big early on to get the legs difference up, but if you've got to win a final scrappy, win it scrappy.
More than anything else, in your group games, just win them both. Win the group, and then you know for a fact that you're going to be in the semi-finals. And 4 good games, job done. Try and make it simple. Don't try and bog yourself down at the very start of the night by saying, I must win by 4 legs to 2 or 4 legs to 1 or better. Don't think about it like that. Win 4-3 twice if you need to. Just winning is enough tonight.
As you can see, that is the table. Mike Warburton was joined by Gavin Carlin and Scott Baker. Scott had to sweat it out in the end. Overnight, we thought that he might be a good bet to even go on and win the group. Mike Gillett, who played well on the opening night, but didn't manage to get himself through. He had a good second night. The first night kind of let him down. Let's have a look then at tonight's action then. These are the 2 groups that are in play this evening. Group 1, Gavin Carlin, Lukas Wenig and Thibault Tricole. Then Group 2, Josh Payne, Mike Warburton and Scott Baker. Very interesting. It's
very interesting. I mean, you've got Scott, who's obviously the quickest player of the night, but he's one of the most effective as well. There's been so much chatter about Payne and Warburton that Scott Baker is going under the radar tonight, but we can't forget about him. He's had a very good week, arguably one of his best weeks in this format as well. So just let battle commence and let's see how the chips fall.
Indeed. Well, our first match of the evening sees a battle of Germany and France. Thibault Tricole, the French touch, the man who made the Lakeside final back in April, takes on Lukas Wenig, a player who's been a regular on the European tour. Early on this evening, Phil Barrs caught up with Lukas to catch his thoughts on how he's been preparing for the final after a couple of days off.
Lukas Wenig, here we are, finals night at the Super Series. You've had a couple of days off after topping Group A. Are you excited for this evening?
Oh, of course, I'm really excited. A little bit nervous, but I'm really happy to play the finals on this stage, and yes, I'm really excited.
You're 3 days in Group A. Monday, a little bit slow, but Tuesday and Wednesday, you really played some good stuff.
Yes, it was great. But I think the first day was better than the second day, but the third day was really good. I really enjoyed it to play there and feel really confident, and it was great. And I think I'm ready for tonight.
Many people won't know this, but you came in for a couple of hours yesterday for some solid practice. Was that needed?
Yes, 2 days without that, it's too long, and I have no board at the hotel. And 1 hour a day, it's good to keep your arm warm, and that I get ready for today.
So, and those are thoughts of Lukas Wenig ahead of tonight's finals here at the MODUS Super Series. As you can see, Paul Nicholson has raced his way down to the commentary box to join Chris Mason ahead of a really European night here at the Super Series. One player is going to add their name to the winner's roll of honour and confirm their place into Champions Week. Let's head on to the stage. The 2 players are ready. Your referee is Owen Binks.
Thank you very much, Henry. And I am delighted to be joined by my longtime colleague now with a mic in our hand. Paul Nicholson, how have you been, pal?
Yes, very good, Mace. Great to be here with you. And unbelievably, for the first time, because we've been like ships in the night over the last 20 months or so, but it's great to be sharing the booth with you for the very first time.
Yeah, well, we've sort of covered each other, haven't we, over the last couple of years? My goodness, haven't we moved on, and so has the Live League. Now, of course, the Super Series. This is week 10.
On.
And we will find our 10th player who will be in Champions Week, where they'll be battling it out for a substantial fee. I mean, the winner walks away with 5 tonight. The winner in Champions of Champions, 20 grand.
A lot of money and financial security for their careers going forward.
180.
And Double T, as I like to call him, looking to triple tap his way through this first game of the night. There's going to be 2 games per player in each group.
45.
This is Group 1, which also involves Gavin Carlin. But isn't it really interesting how things have moved on in the world of darts over the last few years? Did we expect to be having a heavyweight game between Germany and France?
Well, I was going to say to you, it's more like a football match, isn't it? It is
140.
certainly nothing I expected to be commentating on.
And Thibault is starting fast here.
81.
That's his worst start of this first leg. But he's on 105 after 9, which is a very strong start against the Group A winner of this week, Lukas Wenig, who's really started to get some traction in 2022.
Yeah, he's had a couple of great performances on the Euro Tour, which will have set him up nicely
Game
for
shot
this.
the
But
first leg.
Thibault Tricole, way more experienced in this format and in this environment than Lukas, and that may
Second leg is Thibault
play
to
its
throw
part
first.
in the result of this match. I mean, Lukas was a very warm favourite, and rightly so after his performances. And, of course,
140.
the fact that Thibault Tricole hasn't beaten Lukas this week. It's 3-0 to the German. But he was a very tempting 11-8, and he's looking
100.
serious value right now. And traditionally, as we've seen, when we've covered the action with Thibault involved, always starts the Monday a little bit quietly and just gets better and better and better as the week
67.
goes on.
Yeah, he's like a very good orchestra. He starts quietly, then he's got this crescendo. And by the end of Saturday and into the early part of Sunday, if he can peak at the right time, those defeats to Vennig will mean absolutely nothing.
Well, I was going to compare it with a nice gouty glass of
140.
red or a bottle.
Nice glass of Bordeaux.
Yeah.
Well, Thibault's from Brittany, I believe. I don't know what the wine's like there, but I know that the seafood's pretty good.
100. Thibault 154.
How about this for a big fat lobster of a finish? He's going to be
60.
feeling incredibly inspired today, and we'll talk about that in the next leg. But Wenig is in a bit of early trouble here if he doesn't find something to leave a 3-darter. It's a big 3-darter, but at least it's a finish. Oh, has he got the double 18?
Game
You
shot
bet
the
he has.
second leg.
What a
Thibault
start from
Tricole.
Thibault Tricole. 12-darter in leg 1, then a 15-darter, and Wenig is on the ropes in this first game of group number 1. Everyone will be looking in the practice room as if to say, I think the Frenchman is here to play.
Yeah, he would have surprised a few, especially the way he started
60.
on Monday. But I'm not sure if you can remember, but his last visit to the Super Series, or then the Live League in Southampton, he had a bit of a problem with his commute, and he arrived around 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, on Monday, he got here at 6:15, well, into Southampton, so it was even worse this time.
He should have a word with our friend Kirk Bevins, who knows everything about the train networks.
Well, I did find a book for him, and I'll let you have a look at it. It's a beauty. I'm waiting to see it because I want a picture for social media of me with my first book of trains. There you go, Kirk.
Did you get that off Kirk?
No, I've got it for him.
Oh, you got it for him?
Yeah, little present.
Ah.
Sure you'll enjoy that.
138.
Well, maybe give it to him if he wins tonight, because he'll be in a very good mood if he wins. But his good pal, Jacques Laube, is in a very good mood. He won the Europe Cup singles today for France, and that's a huge story.
Well, we had this discussion, I think, during the match when we were talking about the World Cup and how disappointed we would be if we didn't see a French side in there, because I know it's a territory that the PDC are keen to explore. And I think it's been a missed opportunity, especially on reflection of what this man's gone on to do and then what his good friend has gone on to do in winning the Europe Cup today. And congratulations to him. His performances were exceptional.
They really were.
A high 90s average in the final.
Now, Venig's got to get on the board here.
Yep.
He needs to close Tricole out.
Game
and does a very good job of that, because you fancied
Lukas Wenig.
that if Tricole got to look at the bullseye, then it could have been 3-0, but Wenig is back in the match now with this pinpoint double 16.
And as we know,
Full flag, it's
from
Thibault
experience,
Tricole.
you lose this opening game, you are right under it.
Tremendous finishing so far in this match. No doubles missed from 3 attempts.
You
140.
leave yourself so much to do, and it's out of your hands when you lose the opening match.
100.
Because if you then don't beat, well, in Lucas' case, if he does lose to Tricole, then loses to Carlin, that's it. That's all she wrote.
And the Group A curse will be back.
43.
In fact, there's only one player, I believe, in Champions Week so far who won Group A and won the week, and that was Graham Hall in week 3. The rest of them did not win Group A. So what does that tell you?
180.
Well, he has responded
100.
outstandingly here. He could have panicked from 2-0 down. What he's done is find another level. Remember that band?
I think you may have gone to some different clubs to me, mate.
69. Thibault, you require
Well, this has
118.
been to the boot. You must remember the boot.
Biggest finish of the match this so far. And no shot at double.
94.
The window of opportunity was there for Tricole to get that 3-1 lead.
Yep. Double 6 to level
Game
things
shot
up.
on the full flag.
And he backs up
Lukas
the 15-dart
Wenig.
hold with a 13-dart break of throw. I mean, the numbers in this one.
Fifth leg, it's Lukas to throw first.
Have a look for yourselves.
Game on.
This is good.
Yeah, this is good Saturday night darting.
There's always that little bit of trepidation when we build it up that it doesn't quite deliver, but this one has.
97.
Postman Pat would be happy with this one.
I don't know whether you've called Lukas Wenig the German Gezi this week at all.
180.
He's got the same sort of frame.
Well, I walked through the players area a little earlier when he was in there and Josh Payne, and just sort of flex my ample size in front of them just to stamp down a bit of authority, a bit of... There's plenty of testosterone in there, I can assure you. Just want to establish who that alpha male was. Whilst Gavin Carlin sort of looked down on me.
140.
This is superb from both.
Well, Saturday night is so exciting because we'll get to see who joins the
59.
list in Champions Week. We'll see who gets the big financial reward tonight. But we also have, between the semi-finals and the final, the lineup for next week. So
41.
stay tuned for that. You darting night owls, thanks for staying with us. Now, Tricole, who won the first 2, then lost the next 2, will be looking for that pattern to reverse so that he could possibly win 4 legs to 2 from this position, and it's very possible.
Well, it was his turn to respond, and he has. And that's what I like to see from a player. It would be easy to spit the dummy out, the bottom lip to come out. But he's not done that. He's just knuckled down. The finishing has been outstanding so far from both. 50% for Lukas, 100% for Thibault. And Lukas has to keep him away from the outer ring.
Thibault, you require 100.
Tops. Big shot. And he knows it. And he
Game
finds
shot
it.
the fifth leg.
Superb.
Thibault Tricole.
And I suppose we have to say at this point, yes, he's missed a double, but he's visit perfect. And he's getting chances, taking chances, and
Thibault
has the
to throw
opportunity for that
first.
4-2 win, courtesy of that fifth leg break.
Yeah, the stats could sort of lie. As long as it's visit perfect, it doesn't matter if you've got 3 darts there, double, and it comes first, second, or third. As long as you hit the double in your turn, that's all you worry about. And he's maintaining that big average of in excess of 100, while Lukas has just come off the top
85.
slightly.
Now, Thibault's one of only 2 players who have broken the 3-figure barrier this week. Thibault's
140.
personal best for the week, 101.79. And performance of the week came from Vennig, so you're looking at the 2 best individual performers in a match this week.
I think what was more impressive about that average from
180.
Thibault was the fact that he was forced into it. It wasn't like a free roll in 100-plus average, because Josh Payne averaged 98 exactly himself.
140.
So he's pushed all the way to perform at that level. And he's 121 points away, Paul, from, well, it's got to be classed as an upset.
Thibault has been pushed again by somebody with biceps. Now, Tricole is looking at 51 and ball. He's not going to get that.
57. Lucas,
But there's every likelihood he's going to get a look at the 64. It's over to you, Lucas.
Well, 60. Treble 19 for double 19. This would be some match saver. All he can do now is apply a bit of pressure.
84.
Cross his fingers
64.
and his toes, because the doubling from this man has been outstanding.
And he remains visit perfect in the match. What a performance in our first match of the night. An inspired 4-2 victory for the French touch. And there you can see his average in excess of 102, his best performance of the week. And if you're going to save your best performances for Saturday night, you've got every chance of picking up that top prize. Vennig in trouble in Group 1. And when we come back after the break, let's have a little look at Group 2. It's going to be Group 2 straight after this.
What a way to start our evening here, the MODUS Super Series. Thibault Tricole kicking off the show in style with an average of 102 and in excess in a 4-2 victory against Lukas Wenig, who himself averaged just under 97, 2 maximums apiece in the match. It was a quality affair, but it was the 2-ton-plus checkouts, including that 105, that won it for the Frenchman in the end. And it means it's he who is in pole position to progress through Group 1. So we're going to take a little bit of a break from that group. We're going to start Group 2 now, and we kick off between 2 players who played in Group B last night. Mike Warburton, who won the group, up against Scott Baker, and early on this evening, the mod caught up with Phil Bars.
Scott Baker, here we are ahead of finals night. How excited are you?
Yeah, I'm thrilled. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a good night. Hopefully.
tough time that Group B, wasn't it, to come through?
Yeah. I thought I'd blow my chances, to be fair, but managed it in the end.
Those last couple of games, did you know what you had to do going into them?
Not really. I knew it was close anyway because Mike was picking results up and I was really performing yesterday. I managed to get the last one, but by then I was told it was already done and dusted anyways, but it was still nice not knowing because something to play for.
You played in Southampton, coming here. What a transformation it is on the Super Series.
That's amazing. Really impressive. It's nice to be back on the stage. So, yeah, man, it's really good what you've done. Great setup. It's good for the players, good for the fans and good for people watching as well. And
are you hoping this catapults you into 2023 to try and do bigger and better things?
Yeah, definitely. It's helped a lot. I mean, every time I've been invited, it's experience boost, morale boost, and it just helps all round.
Tough groups tonight though, but are you looking forward to the battle here on finals night?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's always a tough battle anyway, can't disrespect any other players. I'm all here because they've earned a place, but tough one tonight.
Well, Scott has been with us throughout the duration of the week here at the Super Series, and he has given us some real highlights as well, including this moment, as you can see on your screen now, the 1-6-1 against Lukas Wenig in Group A. He'll be hoping for more moments just like that this evening as he takes on Mike Warburton. But it's all about the group stages here and now, the bread and butter before we get through to the latter stages of the evening. Who's going to get the first spoils then in Group 2? Let's find out in the company of your commentary team. It's Paul Nicholson and Chris Mason.
Thank you, Henry. Oh, what a performance that was from Thibault Tricole. He's in the driving seat of Group 1. We move on to Group 2 with this man, Mike Warburton from Wrexham. They had a great win today. Former semi-finalist, nicknamed Warby. And if you are a aspiring player just starting out, won't go far wrong, Paul, basing your throw on Warby's.
Yeah, you're not wrong. One of my favourite throws in world darts. And I know you're probably sitting at home or on your smart device thinking he's only saying that because he's playing tonight. But look at that. Just a beautiful throw.
Well, I suppose this is right up your alley. But even for someone like me who's not a particular I'm a fan of golf, but not a player. But when I watch a golf swing that's absolutely perfection or a cue action, you look at Warby and, you know, we both have sort of modelled our own throws on getting them as perfect as possible. When you watch that, it's just 60. A thing of beauty.
The best way I can describe it, and this may be the best compliment I can pay Mike Warburton, because he is a golfer,
140.
is that his dart throw is as pretty as Louis Oosthuizen's swing. It's that good. Now,
Baker's a bit of a fury.
Baker just gets on with it. He is
100.
He's a bit like Matt Fitzpatrick, he would say, just, okay, club next to the ball and whack. Great to watch is Scott Baker. I love 30. That he's got a brand, he's got an identity, he's got skill, and he doesn't overthink things.
Oh, when he's on, he's on. He's one of those throwers. Warby very much an aimer. You can see him. Right eye dominant, sights the dart, looks down the line of fire.
96.
Where the polar opposite with Baker, he just throws off weight and rhythm. Wallop. Get in that red bit.
140.
That's him in a nutshell. And Scott Baker this
Jim
week.
Furyk, I was thinking.
Jim Furyk, yeah, he's a bit inside and out.
Yeah. Actually,
140.
hits a golf ball like me, sort of, but without the same result. I look the same, but I don't know where the ball's going.
100.
The first leg,
Require
maybe not as good as the first
105.
leg we had in the first match, but 105 was taken in the first match.
It sure was.
Not this way. Walk this way.
Game shot in the first leg.
Oh, and he's running
Mark
like Run
Warburton.
DMC to a 1-0 lead. Beautifully done by Warby.
Yeah, solid opening leg on throw, a 15 darter, a 105 out.
Second leg, it's Scott to
Baker
throw
waiting
first.
to pounce. Well, these two have got some. Well, they've got a few meetings between them at
60.
the Super Series. Warby has actually won 5 of their 6. He was actually 4-0 going into Thursday and got gubbed 4-0 by Baker. And that's Baker's
85.
only win in 6 against Warby.
How often does that happen where you've got that flawless record against somebody and their first win
59.
against you is a real shellacking?
Yeah, a bagel. 4-0 one way and then 4-0 the other. I love that numbers theme that we get with darts so often.
Now you see
60.
that side on of the perfect positioning really of Warburton, where he gets that right arm to that right angle and stops before projecting the dart
60.
forward with no movement. That's why it's so good.
Yep.
And that's why he's such an effective dart player. And it's amazing for me to say that over the last 20 months or so, he's made more visits to Saturday night in the finals than any player here
100.
this evening. He's been here 9 times, but Macy's only won once.
Yeah, and that's and again we spoke about it on stage
100.
just prior to us going live on air about that luggage and whether it's something that's now become a mental block, because they do happen in sport and they certainly happen in darts. Michael Smith being a perfect example,
41.
and a lesser level, or a similar level, I suppose. Terry Jenkins and Ronnie Baxter, me and many others. It happens just the once. You can forget
98.
about it, but when it repeatedly happens, it becomes a mind over matter situation.
Well, the other person in Group 2 is Josh Payne. He was the favourite coming into tonight to win that
45.
£5,000.
Scott, you're
He's
up
been to
124.
8 Saturday nights, but he's won 3 times. So his hit rate is much more impressive. That's probably why
56.
he is
Well, he'll
a
have
likely winner.
no negativities, Paul,
Michael
will he, going into this?
170.
He's got positive memories.
Biggest finish of the week so far for Warby is a 161. It will remain the case. Should be looking at the 25 and bull here, but
60.
decides to try
Scott,
the
you
aggressive
require
approach and it doesn't pay
68.
off.
Yeah, but Baker to get his first leg on the board, and incredibly,
Game shot
well,
the
he's
second
got it in the
leg.
end.
Scott
Incredibly,
Baker.
Paul, he played so well on the Thursday, went into the Friday, and lost his opening 4 matches. I mean, he could have actually qualified
Feel like it's
with
Mike
losing
to throw
5 out of
first.
5 on the Friday.
Game on.
I don't ever remember that happening.
No.
It probably has at some point, but if you want an insight into how quickly Scott Baker thinks, on that 68 checkout, that
96.
second dart was a horror show. It was miles away from his intended
It's closer
target.
to double 7.
Absolutely. And by getting that double
45.
somewhat fortuitously, he thought about the double 8 in quick, smart time, and it worked.
Yeah, you don't want too much thinking time in this sport.
Doubling tonight has been
100.
outrageous. We've had 2 legs in this contest, and they haven't missed. And it's very similar to what we had in the first match tonight, where our combatants had
100.
50% and 67%, but they were perfect at the start.
Yep. Well, you would expect a little bit of nerves, but of course, they've been on that stage all week. They're acclimatized.
96.
Or as they say in America, acclimated.
Correct. Acclimated.
Although they have complicated things, they can't call it, a path.
100.
It's got to be a side walk, because it's, just so we're clear, it's on the side of the road and you walk on it. Right, okay, I got it.
Yeah, crabs like sidewalks because they walk sideways. Well, there's a very focused and
99.
intense look there from Warburton. That's what you get when he plays. He's incredibly confident as an individual, but he really does put the yards in.
Yeah, he certainly
100.
isn't,
Might require 110.
Backwards coming forwards, is he? Although, as they say, a closed mouth doesn't get fed, Paul. Double 18 for another ton plus.
92.
I thought he was going to get that.
Scott, you require 156.
It just looked really likely. Now, Baker's had his fair share of big outs this week, but this is not going to be one of them. But is this going to be one of the legs tonight where mistakes
140. Mike, you require 18.
Stipulator wins this match. Double 9 is tricky.
Not nice, is it? Scared to attack. And
No
he did
score.
eventually with the final dart.
Scott, you require
But
60.
that 140 may have just planted a seed of doubt.
Game
The
shot
wire,
the third
and that
leg.
one's between them.
Scott Baker.
And that's our first break of throw, and it goes to Baker. Again, the outsider of the two players in the opening match
Full frigate, Scott to throw first.
was the winner. In
Game on.
Thibault Tricole. Warby was the 8-13 favourite. Baker 6-5. Is he going to spring a bit of a surprise?
7.
Not with darts like that.
Are you going to say it or shall I? 7.
7.
We had a 9 the other day, didn't we, from Davy Prince?
Oh, that was brilliant. And
60.
Edgar was over there fiddling away, and I'm thinking, oh, I don't know what he's doing. He's still commentating. He's on his phone and that. So I said, "You're right over there, mate." He said, yeah.
100.
And I'm just tweeting the 9. I went, "Oh no!" And he's got a strange sense of humour. And oh my goodness, we absolutely had it. The amount of people that fell for it as well.
60.
Including me.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, we nearly had an actual real 9 a little bit later. Oh, and get well soon, Matt. He was playing football today and got clattered and ended up with a head injury, but not a serious one. There's not a lot in there to damage. Gotta say, had a lot of fun with him this week.
140.
Absolute pleasure to share the commentary box with him, as
Come
it
on.
is tonight.
Come on, Scott. Set up the 350 and 6.
180.
You love this, don't you?
It's like the condor in golf. The hole-in-one on the par 5, it's super rare. This is as rare as it gets in 501. We've had 9
30.
darters.
Scott,
Loads
you
of them.
require
We've had one
170.
350 and 6 in the last 20 months. And we're going to continue to talk about Andy Jenkins, who got that about 20 months ago.
98.
Yes, he did. Absolutely. Well, I was mentioning it last night about the rare double 17, and then Daz Rollins reminded me about that incredible 9 that Jamie Caven had against Whitlock.
140.
Yeah, the 154 at the end.
Yeah,
Scott,
180,
you require
160. What was he doing
72.
going for the ball after the 180?
No idea. We know what Scott's going to do. He's going to go for tops.
32.
And he's going to hand an opportunity
Well,
for
you
Warburton
require
to get back into this
71.
match.
Oh, he has to get this break back. Treble 17. 14 for tops. What you saying, Paul?
31.
That wire moved.
Scott,
That
you
was a very
require
well thrown
40.
shot. It just didn't register. And Baker, without hesitation,
Game shot on the 4th leg.
finds the oven.
Scott Baker.
He's almost got the crust on the rolls. Just one more to go for a very good start in Group 2.
5th leg, it's Mike
Yeah,
to
this
throw
really
first.
does put the cat amongst the pigeons if the two, well, it's hard to call them outsiders, but according to the odds compilers, they are outsiders.
81.
Both winning their opening matches because it leaves Vennig in Group 1 with plenty to do, and it'll leave
45.
Warby with plenty to do, of course, because Josh Payne's in the mix.
And Josh is just a bit of a ninja when it comes to getting to Saturday, but his ability to get the job done on
45.
the Saturday is very well documented. But one thing we didn't mention in the first game, and something we could maybe talk about a bit more when Thibault comes back to the hockey in match 3,
140.
is that when Thibault's been to Saturday night on his 3 occasions in the last year, he has never failed to make the semi-finals. He has never won on a Saturday night, but he's never failed to make the semis.
Was he in the one where Matt Campbell produced that 107 average?
Correct.
I did that wonderful interview with Matt.
121.
The king of the one-word answers.
Almost felt like I was being set up. I actually seen him recently, and we had a bit of a chuckle about it.
60.
He said he was just a little bit overwhelmed by the whole thing, and it was a massive occasion. It was, and the perfect build-up. You talk about
95.
momentum a lot, as I do, and you couldn't get a better bit of momentum going into the Worlds, and well, he went on to secure a card, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Now, Warburton now needs a lot of errors from Scott Baker.
Require 100.
He's on a 2-darter to win 4-1 in his first game. Double 10 again. Fabulous display from Scott Baker. It's not a vintage average, but the finishing was excellent. There you see it at 50%. The highest checkout from Scott came in that final leg, but Warburton starts slowly tonight, and his second game of the night against Josh Payne takes on huge significance. Baker takes the lead in Group 2, but when we come back after the break, we will get our first look of the night at Gavin Carlin, who takes on a jubilant-looking Thibault Tricole.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Scott Baker has got his evening off to the perfect start after getting the better of Mike Warburton by 4 legs to 1 with an average of 85.2, 50% on the doubles and that 100 high out. For Mike Warburton, 1 out of 6 was the difference in that particular matchup. A 105 high out was his highlight and the only leg he won in that particular match. So work for Warby to do if he is to get out of Group 1. So we're now heading into the halfway house in our group stage worth of action this evening. Match 3 sees Thibault Tricole, the Frenchman, in action up against Gavin Carlin. Gavin's been with us since Monday here at the Super Series and has been one of our most consistent performers, as you can see here, as we have a look at his highlights reel of the week. It's 105 against Niall Cullerton last night as he got his way through Group B yesterday. Well, earlier on this evening, our colleague Phil Bars caught up with Gavin to see how he's feeling ahead of finals night. So those are thoughts of Gavin Carlin going into tonight's finals here at the MODUS Super Series. He's up against Thibault Tricole, who's always got through his group on Saturday night. If he wins this particular match, he'll keep that record up. Let's see who's the victor in match 3 in the company of your commentary team. It's Chris Mason and first, Paul Nicholson.
Thank you very much indeed, Henry. Fascinating times ahead here in group number 1 because we do now know that if Thibault Tricole wins this match, he will not only qualify through Group 1, he will win it. And he would therefore be playing in semi-final number 1. And it would make match 3 in Group 1 a straight shootout between Carlin and Wenig to see who joins the Frenchman in the semi-finals. Interesting times ahead.
Thank goodness for that. No abacuses out.
Okay, first leg, it's Thibault to throw first.
Well,
I'm so going to get one made.
Yeah.
A branded Super Series abacus. It only comes out on Saturday night.
Yeah, we'll just bring it in here and it can stay in like a little cabinet and come out on a Saturday night. Well, that GCE in maths has done you a bit of a favour tonight, Paul, because I asked the question about the double 17 and you've got the answer.
I had a little communication with our backroom staff in that little break between game 2 and game 3, and fascinatingly, since the start of February last year, we've had only 59 double 17 winning legs, which is remarkable when you think about it. So when we've played over 36,000 legs, just under 2 double 17s hit in every 1,000 legs played. That's ridiculous.
I felt like I've done about 20,000 of them. And we were just having, again, a chat off air. We're trying to work out where they all come from. It must be the missed ball shot majority of the time where they're picking off the 16 just outside of the 25.
85. Gavin, you 144.
And even then, they don't have to go straight for it, but Carlin was hoping for a shot at double 12. He's not going to get it. And Tricole could get the ideal start here with it holding 5 visits.
Or can Tricole find the double 16? His finishing was mustard. I've had a little bit of a dig around in the archives, Paul, in the first meeting between these two. Was it a Challenge Tour this year? Challenge Tour 16 in Leicester as Carlin makes the ideal start. And you mentioned it, a 5-visit break of throw. And it was Tricole winning 5-0, but
second leg, it's Gavin to throw first.
He was still going through that transition period of coming to terms, having lost his tour card and his form was poor. And then their first meeting
41
on Monday went to Tricole, but then that was the resurgence of Gavin. He really started to find his feet and that momentum that we mention all the time, and the confidence grew. And on Tuesday and Wednesday, he walloped Tricole 4-1 in both matches.
by far their biggest meeting of the week right now.
Oh, their biggest meeting ever.
60.
There's a potential windfall of 25 grand up for grabs. 5 grand tonight and 20 grand. And
140.
as you said a bit earlier, that really could set either player up for next year. It would take the pressure off the travelling and the expenses of chasing that dream of becoming a full-time professional player. And that's really what we like to think we're going to provide for those players outside the 128 elite tour card holders.
To have the opportunity to play to win instead of playing for money. That's where you find out what someone can really do.
41.
Peter Wright, when he had financial security. Gavin Price, financial security. Nathan Aspinall, when he got financial security by winning, then we saw them really accelerate. And this is what could potentially happen to some of these guys. And we've not just had the guys, we've had the girls as well over the last 10 weeks. And let's face it, we've still got 2 more weeks of qualifying before Champions Week.
Well, we've already seen the
85.
reaction from
37.
the experience of playing in this environment when we look back at who won the tour cards, who did well at the WDF Worlds.
97.
The list is endless. Who's going along lovely in the ADC at the moment? All players that have had a lot of stage time here at the Super Series or the then Live League.
Now tops for Tricole. Big shots.
No score.
And he didn't really get close to it, offering Carlin the opportunity of a 2-0 lead. Now, I have to say this because he's taken his time to get to the hockey. I don't think he thought he was coming back in this leg.
Nope. If he has had an Achilles heel, it's been missing the big numbers. It's not been missing the doubles. And he confirms the break pull with a holder throw and a 2-0 lead.
Throughout this week, throw first.
I was just about to look at that.
The doubles percentage for Carlin is the worst of all 6 players tonight. Just a shade over 30.5%. Now, that should be better, but if you're going to find your doubles on a Saturday night, those statistics from earlier in the week are irrelevant.
Well, I'm going to call it, Paul. I think those statistics, as I put my front teeth back in, may be a little misleading, and I'll tell you for why. The opening day was seriously poor for him, and I think he improved massively, but like an average in this format, you have a 24 darter, good luck with trying to average over 90.
Tricole is fine on the scoring phase in this match, but Carlin is giving him so much to think about. This is a great performance so far, averaging over 96. It's a fair reflection of the game, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel, Chris, but 3 legs in, when you look at the averages, we have a pretty decent picture. Now, Carlin's got 20 in bull here and decides, in his infinite wisdom, not to go for it. So the gauntlet has been laid down, Mr. Tricole.
It has. Cheeky. Maybe costly. Oh, it's not on this occasion.
91.
Dodged a bit of a bullet there. I don't think I'd have been giving Tricole a go at 1, 2, 3. After
game
performance, but
Gavin Carlin.
Well, in hindsight, and it was a 13 darter there, best leg of the match, and it's the double break of throw.
4 leg, it's Gavin to throw first.
There you can see a brilliant performance so far for Carlin. We can question that approach shot in the previous leg, but it worked.
63.
93.94. We're all, stats guys, miss. We know that that's 16 darts per leg.
Yep.
So times that by 3, that's 48 darts for the first 3 legs in this match. That's the kind of standard that can get you far in this format. In fact, that's very close to the running average this week of Lukas Wenig.
Of course, county weekend this weekend, and that would be referred to as a 31 plus average.
140.
But it's not just those numbers. Look at those. That tells its own story.
Yes, it does. It tells a very good story.
Well, it's a bit of a nightmare story for Tricole.
Yeah, because all of a sudden, what was looking so rosy after match 1 is looking a bit precarious.
Well, he's going to be in a bit of trouble because if he does get beat 4-0, he goes to -2 on the leg difference, and it's throwing Vennig a lifeline.
A massive lifeline. We will give you, after 2 matches in each group, the scenarios, because there could be many if Carlin wins this game.
Well, we both might have to take our shoes and socks off.
96.
So we can at least get
requires 61.
kind of numbers we need. And this is a must get. 53 remaining. Tops.
Game shot on the 4 flag.
What a
Thibault
finish that was.
Tricole.
He couldn't finish his dinner so far in this match, but takes out the 61, and it's a break of throw.
It's Thibault
Still
to
leaving
throw
himself
first.
with massive amounts to do.
Still a possibility of winning from 3-0 down, of course.
100.
And that would put a bit of je ne sais quoi into the evening, wouldn't it?
Wonder when you're going to start dropping the Del Boy stuff in.
57.
I don't know a great deal of French, but I did walk past Thibault earlier and said bonjour, bonne chance.
100.
I suppose je ne sais pas pourquoi. I don't know why.
I went buongiorno, got any vino.
41.
My old mate just give me a look and laughed. I think he got the vino and the buongiorno, but the rest of it,
59.
not a Scooby.
And Carlin really wants to get this job done sooner rather than later, and that will do him a great deal of favours.
180.
That is his second maximum of this match, and it gets him in the lead, but only just.
I have been impressed with
45.
just the mentality of Gavin Carlin. He really did come in here with little to
59.
no confidence. He looked very vulnerable on day one. And it's great to see a player use this environment and opportunity.
139. Gavin, you reckon 164.
He has reinvented his game as well. He's gone from a slow player to a very quick player, and it has to be said, it suits him.
And he's got a bit of the old Rob Cross reset. When he's not
54.
happy, he steps away.
You may require 58.
And he's done it with some success, but for back-to-back legs.
80.
And again, they're just not being
Gavin, you
attacked
require
yet.
110.
They're sort of been thrown in the general direction.
Is it a match start for Carlin? Yes, it is at double 18. Thibault can't look, and he should not look, because that's a 4-1 victory for Carlin. You can see the despair of Thibault Tricole. He knows that now everything is out of his hands. Carlin will have his destiny in his own hands, as will Lukas Wenig when it comes to match 3 in the group. That will take place in match 5, but you can see that Carlin's checkouts, that's what got him over the line. 80%, a stunning display on the outer ring. So he will come back in match number 5. But before we even get there, we've got Scott Baker and Josh Payne. That's right after this.
Well, that wasn't just good, it was Carlin, wasn't it? A brilliant victory there for Gavin Carlin in our middle match in Group 1 this Saturday evening against the French touch Thibault Tricole. Let's have a look at the stats then from that previous encounter. Gavin Carlin, an average just underneath 90, 2 180s to his name, 4 out of 5 on the checkouts, 80% ratio, 110 high checkout. A really, really good display from the cannon, who is firing on all cylinders this evening. Thibault Tricole has still got work to do if he is to progress through Group 1 tonight. So we are in the middle match of Group 2 now, where we see Scott Baker in action up against Josh Payne. We've already seen Scott Baker in action this evening and beat Mike Warburton. It's our first glimpse of the maximum this evening. So let's get the players on the stage and the action underway in the company of your commentary team. It's Chris Mason and first, Paul Nicholson.
Many thanks, Henry. What a night so far for the outsiders. And Josh Payne comes into tonight as the favourite to progress, but he's up against Scott Baker, who's already going to win tonight by 4 legs to 1, a comprehensive one over Mike Warburton. But the 28-year-old from Ashford in Kent, he's a 2-time PDC Pro Tour winner, as you can see, but he's a 3-time winner on Saturday nights here at the Super Series this year alone. 8 visits to Saturday night. He always makes it when he comes here in qualifying through the week. Will it be a 4th Saturday night win to get himself into the Champions Week in week 13?
Unlucky for some.
Okay, first leg, it's Scott.
Lucky for whoever walks away with the 20 grand. Yeah, if you've been backing the outsiders tonight and you put them in a treble, good for you, because 11 to 8, 6 to 5, and even money. The 3 outsiders. And they
60.
have beaten players priced at 8 to 15, 8 to 13, and 8 to 11. Well, Baker's 6 to 4 here. Josh priced up at 1 to 2.
140.
I think that's pretty fair considering what Josh does on a consistent basis when he plays in this format. And this week alone, yes, he's played not the most games of anybody because he came straight into Group B. In fact, it was Group C, I do beg your pardon. But he won 9 games from 10. And to have a win percentage of 90% coming into a Saturday night, that's got to give you confidence.
95.
Yeah, absolutely. But, and it's a but with a capital B, Baker has defeated Josh Payne in the Super Series 4-0, lost 4-1, and has won 4-2.
128.
2-1 in the head-to-head to Baker. When he was beaten, well, they give each other a bit of a thump in a 4-0 and a 4-1.
100. Joshua
Baker
140.
won't have any fears about playing Josh Payne. He won't be worried about his reputation. And advantage with Baker.
78.
This is Josh Payne's first match, and we always discuss that. The advantage of getting that one game under your belt. Oh, look at this.
130.
And
Joshua
when that
62.
one game is a comprehensive win, you're full of confidence.
Josh is yet to find a double tonight because this is his first attempt.
42.
And that is the miss that he can't afford to have. That low shot on tops is what cost him a place in Champions Week in week 4.
12.
But he does come back for double 10 for a 6-visit break of throw. An ideal scenario for Josh. Can he take advantage of it?
That goes against the grain for Baker because he was at 50% on the doubles going into this one this evening. And that is a bit of a steal.
Second leg is Josh to throw
week
first.
4, Josh Payne was in the final in Southampton. He lost to Daryl Pilgrim in the early hours of that Sunday, and he left the building with smoke
95.
leaving his ears, because that is a match he should not have lost.
Yeah, he had multiple darts to win that one.
140.
Pilgrim, one of the 9 already safely through to Champions of Champions.
Go on, I'm going to put you on the spot now, Mace. We don't know who's going to be the 10th person, or as it stands, the 10th man. But who's the favourite right now? I know that a lot of people will go for Scott Williams because he won last week.
100.
But I like Graham Hall. So consistent.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I've known Graham for years. He was knocking around the West Midlands team or scene, should I say, while I was still sort of playing a lot of darts and was still going to a lot of opens. And you know, that was his career was in his infancy, and he gave me a couple of wallopings then. And we all thought, well, he's going to go on to do something in the sport. Went missing for a while.
100.
My goodness, the last 12 months, 18 months, he's been winning opens all around the country, up and down the country, travelling, learning his trade.
137.
And I think that was shown
Joshua
in
McGuire,
week 3
109.
when he won a real hot group, defeating Gian Van Veen in the final, Scott Williams and Ryan Furness in the semi-finals. Danny Van Tripe was in there, as was Arjan Conterman.
71.
It was a tasty
Scott
Saturday
McGuire,
night.
64.
Just like this one, where Scott Baker's looking to even things out.
I like Robert Owen. I literally could look down the list of Owen, Barstow, Hall, Pilgrim,
32.
Evans, Tian, Usher,
Joshua McGuire,
Whitehead and
38.
Williams and make a case for them all.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck pricing that up.
Double 19. Josh has already hit this week, but this is a really tricky shot. Left side.
No score.
Well, we've seen a highlight of that, didn't we, in a little clip earlier. And it was a key moment. It was 2-all in the match. It was for a breaker throw, and he wasn't looking convincing at that point. As Baker breaks back, well, we're getting better in increments of 1. That was a 16-dart breaker throw.
Game
Got a nice ring to it, that. Baker breaks back. It sounds a bit like one of the episodes of Grange Hill that you missed when you were a kid.
140.
Roland. Remember that? Roland. You must have been into the old Biker Grove.
Yeah. Ant and Decker, as they were called, PJ and
Duncan, yeah, that's right.
Spuggy as well. She was one of the more vibrant characters.
Well, we're getting better in increments of 1. So if this goes all the 7 legs, leg 7 will be 1 in 11. Just put that in your notebook, Nico.
Right. We are not going to get a 9-dart shootout in Group 1.
60.
But there is still a possibility of a 9-dart shootout in Group 2. But only if we get a 4-1 in this match for Payne. Now, that's looking increasingly unlikely now, because Baker, with that maximum, is first of the contest, gives himself a sizable advantage here in leg 3.
Treble 20, treble 18, double 12. Single 20 for tops. Time on his side.
58.
And I really think Josh is suffering, starting the evening a little bit later
100.
than anybody else in his group. It's just the way it works out. But playing Baker, who's already got the confidence of winning a match and convincingly, and the confidence that brings against Warby. It is playing its part so far in this one for me.
He's getting enough chances at doubles Baker, but he is missing a few. He's already missed 7 in this match so far.
More than he had in his, well, he had 8 in the opening match and hit 4.
That's it, and he's missed a couple more, which offers a really unlikely break opportunity for Josh. He was thinking this leg was done, but now, if he can find double 15, he's the favourite. What a finish from JP.
That is a shot at 90 he shouldn't have been having. And that's the 3rd consecutive breaker throw. Multiple darts missed there by Baker. What did he have? 7? Yeah, 7 darts at a double.
Now they don't call him the maximum for nothing.
180.
Greeted with glee from our audience this evening here at the Modus Live Lounge in Portsmouth.
Don't forget, if you want to come along on a Saturday night, it is completely free. Just register at dartshop.tv. Pay your £5 deposit, which is redeemable upon arrival. Come and enjoy a night of the darts. It's one of the most unique buildings you will come and watch darts, and it's up close and personal. You might even get to meet me and Nico.
140.
Now, there's a dark side to everything. Enjoy the darts, and you might have to just avoid us too at some point in the night.
Well, our referee, Owen Binks, is out there tonight having his picture taken. I've never seen him. Such a smile on his face.
They thought it was someone else.
That's why I shouted from the balcony.
135.
I won't tell you the reply.
136.
2 treble 20s and double 8 is the desired route. Very tight match when it comes to the averages, as you can see.
42.
Unfortunately for Josh, he will feel that that is not enough. Baker's not going to take this big out, but Josh is thinking, why couldn't I leave something that was 2 singles to a double? This just makes things a bit more difficult. Now he's got a lovely guide for the ball, but it's a shot he doesn't need. Double 6. For a 3-1 advantage. It's there.
On the 4 flag.
And
Josh
remarkably, if Josh Payne wins this next leg, the 9-dart shootout is a possibility. We did have one a couple of weeks ago. It was one of the most sensational things that's happened over the last couple of years, with Lee Shue and Ryan Finesse and Andy Hamilton hammering it out over 3 visits.
And one of the best 180s you'll ever see.
Yeah, the reaction of the audience when Ryan Finesse got that maximum in that 9-dart shootout was palpable.
140.
I was sat at home watching that one. Absolutely loving it.
60.
In fact, I was loving it. I got myself a nice bottle of Sauv from New Zealand, not literally. And a bit of pate.
You love the pate. I don't know anybody who loves pate more than you. I'm going to have a word with Thibault about this. He's going to have to bring you some more.
Yeah, wine, cheese and pate, and then watch me limp around the venue for a week. I think I'm just enjoying being out of training and in another type of training, and I'm embracing it. Maybe a little bit too much.
No, this is a great visit.
125.
He bust that, you know.
I don't think he knew. I don't think he knew he had 180 left.
He almost did a de Souza there.
Yeah.
Well, he's fortunate that he's coming back for this 2-dart. He could have been coming back for a shot that wouldn't have given him the leg. But double top it is. He's missed a lot of doubles in this match, but that is a huge double 10. His second hit from 12 attempts, and it does make sure that we're going to get no 9-dart shootout tonight.
Well, this game
Safe leg is Josh to throw first.
Found another level, Paul. It started with a 17-dart break from Josh, a 16-dart break back by Scott, a 17-dart break back by Josh, followed by a 15-dart hold and a 15-dart hold from Baker. They are playing on almost identical level.
60.
Do you get the feeling that these two shop in the same department store when it comes to dart shirts? They've got the same colour scheme. It's almost like Josh is playing the home kit and Scott's playing the away kit.
100.
Certainly don't go to the same barber.
You could go into any barber in the United Kingdom and say, I'll have the Scott Baker, please. He is never going to have another haircut like anybody else. That is...
Well, Paul Weller looks exactly the same. He's got the same hair he's had for decades. Different colour, of course.
Absolutely. Scott is one of the nicest people you could ever wish to meet.
And Paul Weller drives around in a Mini as well. He's got an old one, and now he's got a modern one. I've seen him in Hammersmith many a time at the Fish Fan. Nice fella.
60.
Totally down to earth. You wouldn't believe he's a... If you didn't know who he was, you wouldn't know that he was a megastar. This has been a super leg from Payne. He's piling on the Payne, isn't he?
One chance to get the 2 points, potentially. Double top. And he wins with that one chance. Perfectly done by Mr. Saturday Night so far this year. 8 visits to Saturday Night before. This is his 9th, but that is a great performance. 93.5 with 44% in the checkouts. That 94 was excellent, but maybe that 76 was just a little bit better because it got him the 2 points. We'll see more of Josh in match 6 when he takes on Mike Warburton. But before that, we've got a lot of permutations to get through when we come back with the Carlin Vennig match coming straight after this break.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where both of our groups are going all the way down to the final matches. It is going to the wire here on Saturday night here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. And that is because Josh Payne has got the better of Scott Baker by 4-2 in match 4 of our pool stages, with an average of 93.45, 2 maximums to his name, 4 out of 9 on the doubles, and a 94 higher, as you can see there for Scott Baker, 2 out of 12 on the doubles in that particular match. So one more game to go in Group 2. That'll be the decider between Josh Payne and Mike Warburton. But we have a deciding match in Group 1 between Gavin Carlin and Lukas Wenig. This is the situation then going into the final game of the group. Gavin Carlin only needs 1 leg to secure his qualification through to the semi-finals. If Carlin wins, it'll be him and Thibault Tricole that secure their place into the semi-finals. A 4-0 win for Lukas Wenig would mean it'd be him and Thibault through to the semis, but 4-1 or better for Lukas Wenig would mean it'd be him and Carlin sending each other through to the knockout stages here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. So let's finish off Group 1 then and hand back over to our commentary team. It's Chris Mason and first, Paul Nicholson.
Yes, thanks, Henry, and very well done for remembering all of those permutations, because I've got them written down right in front of me.
We were having a bet, weren't we? There's no way he's going to go, well, there's too many. Let's go and hear from the boys in the box. I'm sure they'll be able to explain. I'd had a look at it, and I said, go on, Paul, you can have that lot.
Well, here we go then. We know that any Gavin Carlin win means that Carlin wins the group and Thibault Tricole will go through second. We do now know that Thibault Tricole cannot win this group, but Vennig now needs a win by a margin. Carlin needs 2 legs to win the group, and Thibault Tricole needs a Carlin win or a 4-0 win for Lukas to qualify. It's very complicated, so let's take it one leg at a time. Let's approach it like we're players once again, mate.
Yeah, the other one's a little bit easier. Basically, Warby needs to win 4-0 against Josh Payne, or his night is over.
Now, is that scenario that we've talked about before, where the winner of Group A failing most of the time on Saturday night, is it going to happen again?
It is the curse of winning Group A, so I will not be winning Group A.
140.
In week 12. And I do hope my colleague sat next to me wins Group B.
58.
Just let the cat out the bag, you see. We will be announcing the players for week 11 a little bit later on tonight, so stay tuned for that.
Yep, yourself and Henry will be going through the lineup, and I've had a look at it. My goodness. I cannot wait for next week. I will be tuned in. And don't forget, if you want to come next Saturday night, it will be well worth it when you hear the lineup. Just register at dartshop.tv.
45.
Yes, I'll be here next Saturday night. Can't wait for it, but...
Well, I will be myself. I'll be glued to the action all week.
51.
Now, this is a slow start from Lukas Wenig in this second game of the night, but Carlin is leaving his opponent in his wake.
91.
This is a really good evening's work so far. In his first game, he averaged just a shade under 90, but his doubling was magnificent. And if he can maintain that in this game, it looks like Vennig
45.
maybe about to leave us.
Carlin was a massive price just to win Group A.
Game show.
Never mind qualify
Gavin Carlin
for the finals, mate. Never mind confirm his place as he has done there in the semi-finals and winning a group both me and you felt that just might be a bit too big for him.
Yeah, Carlin is now through. He will be in the semi-finals. It now just depends which place he takes.
85.
Lukas Wenig has got to be really good from here. Just have to re-emphasize what happened at the end of the Carlin Tricole match, because Thibault was very aware of his predicament. He was almost on his knees in despair at that
42.
loss of 4-1 against the Northern Irishman, because he knows it's firmly out of his hands. And what he could do with is a Carlin domination display now.
100.
Lukas wins, he's in.
$85.
Yeah, if Carlin thumps him, well, irrelevant, isn't it? Lukas has to win from here.
130.
This is a much better leg, though. Leg 1 was a bit sketchy, but he has got himself off the floor and put in 4 very tidy visits to leave 71.
Lukas, you require
For a
71.
1-1 scoreline, he's got a minimum of 6 starts here. That's a bit of a slip.
49.
But he didn't expect to be on double 11 in that match, in that leg, sorry.
That's not it very often. What did you say the second fewest hit double was? 13?
Double 13 was the second rarest hit
140.
in the last year and a
Lukas, you
half.
require 22.
I think there's 129 double 13s hit. Well, this time it's double 11 with Carlin on a finish, and he's not liking the angle.
Would you have taken the split there, Paul?
Game shot
what
the
a
second
time
leg.
that was.
Lukas
Dinked it
Wenig.
over the top. Just moved slightly to the right, didn't he? Just to change the angle of entry. And that was a big leg for Lukas.
Filling it, Gavin to throw.
Yeah, Lukas is going to be playing in the German
Game on.
Super League in early November, and I think he will go into that as one of the favourites.
Is that the one you're going to be covering?
I will be writing an article about the German Super League.
Look at you, Paul. Dear, oh dear. I think I could get a job writing, but it'd probably be in Viz.
134.
Now, does Carlin get back on the horse
96.
here? He probably already knows that he needed one leg to qualify. And from here, it's all about just having that
140.
invincible factor going into the semi-finals. You don't want to think, right, I've done my job, I'll focus on the semis now. It doesn't work that way. You need to
95.
keep winning.
Yeah, it was something I picked up on during the week, and the integrity of the players was unbelievable, because there was situations where they were dead rubbers and they're still, as you say, absolutely playing their
60.
heart out, because they want to take that positivity with them into the next day, the next phase. They don't want that negativity of losing a match.
167.
Yeah, losing sucks. Some people hate losing more than they enjoy winning.
100.
Case in point, you sat next to him.
Now, this leg is far from done if Gavin can find a big old shot here. 1-1-3 left with 1 dart.
99.
And that's all right.
Lukas,
That's a
you
little bit of
require
pressure on this
67.
67 for Vennig, who's looking to get his first break of throw in this match.
Well, 18 for double 16 for a 15 dart break of throw would be the best leg of the match so far. And back-to-back legs.
35.
All the German.
Gavin, you require 94.
Make your mind up as to which route you want. He's going the bull route. This looks good.
Old school.
It is old school now. It used to be new school. This is old school Carlin taking his time, and he
74.
just misses out on getting
Lukas,
a
you
2-1 lead.
require 32.
Things are going Venig's way. Double 8. Keeps splitting
24.
and keeps missing.
Gavin, you require 20. Game shot on the third leg.
Well, that's good news,
Gavin
not only for
Carlin.
Gavin Carlin in his quest to win this group with 2 consecutive wins tonight, but good news for Thibault Tricole, who needs a Carlin
Well,
win
it's
here.
Lukas to throw
It's
first.
that simple.
Well, one more leg for Gavin, and even if
100.
Lukas wins from there, he will go on to -1
38.
with Thibault on 2 points.
By my reckoning, on legs 1 and leg difference now, Gavin Carlin has won this group, so he's going to be in the
57.
first semi-final up against the runner-up in Group 2. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah, my brain's already hurting.
100.
I've been here. This is day 8 of 9.
Oh, it's a bit like this is day 6 in the Big Brother house, and Chris is in the commentary room.
Having a breakdown.
95.
Imagine what the players feel
you got
like.
the accent for it, so that's perfect.
Should have had Glenn Durrant do it. I think that's the right neck of the woods, isn't it?
60.
Well, Vennig has got himself to a finish first, but you can sense the tension in this game.
Yeah.
140.
And Carlin leaves himself that awkward 1-2-8. Well,
Do you want to hit the treble on that? He wants to hit the treble on this. He wants another one. Ooh. Yeah, it's one of those. If you hit the treble, you've got to get another one. haven't you?
yeah, you might as well just hit the single.
Yeah.
There's the single. Treble 20 is there for the bull. This would be enormous.
97.
Oh, he hit the bullseye the last time he went for it, but that one
12.
was in a different continent. Double 6 for Vennig. And we could be having our tightest match of the night. We've already had
Vennig.
2 4-2 scorelines, but this one looks like the tightest match of the night so far. No idea where this one goes from here.
And incredibly,
Fifth leg, it's Gavin to throw first. Game on.
mirror image of the double 6 was the first leg he won in double 11, wasn't it? The exact opposite side of the board.
Yeah, he's going for the bow tie.
140.
The double 6, the double 11, and the bullseye in the middle is what we call a bow tie.
Imagine if he hits the bow tie to win it. I used to do the bow tie in the old exhibition shop.
83.
Backs up the 140 with an 83, meaning Lukas needs a 2 treble visit.
Thibault Tricole needs help from Gavin Carlin. He'll be sitting in the practice room right
44.
now, scooched over thinking, come on, Gavin, do me a favour.
60.
Lukas still in that same predicament. Needs trebles. He needs them fast. He's got the type of grip
96.
that we see fairly regularly. It's right at the end of the point. It's almost like a knife thrower, isn't it?
83.
It's a very unusual action that Lukas has. It, again, reminds me of Gavin Price. Holding it right at the end, albeit a very different piece of equipment, but he places
60.
that dart through the air very gracefully for such a muscly fella. It's almost like his action doesn't suit his physique.
Treble 20 for the ball. Yeah, I just... Again, it was something that was discussing in depth with Edgar, of course, who used to be a PE teacher and understands the physiology of the human body and about the fact that as long as the
102.
muscle is not too bulky, the support of the throw.
Double 16.
Game
And
show on
Carlin
the
is
fifth
now
leg.
3-2 ahead.
Gavin
Good
Carlin.
news for him in his quest for 2 consecutive victories. And Thibault Tricole is thinking, merci, monsieur. 1 more leg, please.
Sixth leg, it's Lukas to throw first.
Vennig needs 2 consecutive legs now, or he is out.
No more complicated than that.
100.
Knockout darts here at the Super Series on finals night, week 10. Don't forget, give us a follow on your socials at MSS Darts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Are you still doing the Twitter, Paul?
I'm still on the
Wow.
old Twitter,
57.
but I'm not on the TikTok.
No, I don't.
No, I haven't quite got there yet.
What's your handle on?
140.
At the Asset 180.
There you go, people. If you want to engage with Nico, if you've got any questions, keep it polite and clean, or no doubt you'll be on the end of the block button.
140.
Well, that's a great visit, but Wenig was hoping to leave a finish with a maximum. You can finish 3:44 in 6.
96.
Very rarely, I'll say, but at least Lukas does have 6 darts from 2:04 here to keep his challenge for week 10 alive.
Needs a treble though. 60 is
100.
not enough. That ton takes him down to a very doable 104. He's had an array of big finishes this week. No more bigger than the 104 incoming.
It looks like
30.
Gavin's got himself
Lukas, you
only
require
30 points there.
104.
So Lukas is thinking he might even have 6 from this position. Just get it done, he's thinking.
Well, Gavin has, of course, got that insurance of having the throw in the decider. Not that he needs to win the leg, but makes it even more difficult.
What is it about Thibault Tricole doing things
The hard way.
on the knife edge? It's like he lives on the edge of a knife.
Leon.
Oh, but hold on a minute. Oh, we've had a big collision with the flight there.
76.
And I sneakily
Looking for
suspected that was so
24.
close to going in for a shot at tops for the match. Wenig using his get out of jail free card there. Double 6 again.
18.
What a chance for Carlin to win the
it
group with
requires
2 victories
78.
and to take Thibault Tricole with him.
An Anglo-French connection. Can he connect with tops?
38.
Well,
Lukas, you require 6.
talk about 3 bizarre winning doubles if this double 3 goes in.
11, 6 and 3. West, east and south. But he has to go north for double 1, and that's a decent lie.
4.
You wouldn't have thought so.
Gavin,
That
you
was a
require
bad dart.
40.
Quick one as well, wasn't it?
And Carlin is back for 10s. He's had 3 match darts. He's missed them all, but he's got 1 left.
35.
And it's not a good shot.
Lukas, you require 2.
Penny for the thoughts of the Frenchman. As Wenig comes back for double 1. He's in the madhouse.
Be mad if it doesn't go in.
Game shot
Oh,
the
and it
sick
has.
flag. Lukas
My
Wenig.
goodness. He is taking it to the wire. That's great to see. Andy Jenkins in the
7th
house.
and final leg. It's Gavin to throw
He'll be
first.
playing, of course,
Game on.
week 12.
Right now, I'm sure
55.
there are no fingernails left on the hands of
I'd
the
look-
French captain.
We need a player room cam. I want to see him pacing up and down like an expectant father.
100.
In this sort of scenario, I'd like to see someone like Thibault in the old soundproof booth.
100.
Remember on Noel's house
Yeah,
party?
mic'd up. How you feeling, Thibault?
He's probably feeling okay that Gavin is a dart ahead. Well, he was. Until a very tiny
100.
ton from Lukas. Is 15 darts enough for Lukas to get his way through?
77.
Well, that's a great last dart from Gavin.
I think a 15 will be enough, but it's going to need a 2 treble visit. Or is he going to do the old school? I was gonna
60.
say 4 tons, 101 out.
Yeah, the old 5-ton game is something you don't see very often these days.
Nope.
Gavin is going to leave a
99.
very large fish.
Jules.
Doesn't get any bigger.
140.
Oh, look at this.
Gavin,
said he needed a 2-treble visit.
170.
It's now down to Gavin, who could get it to take Thibault through.
Game
What
shot
a
of
thing
the
to do!
match. Gavin
We should maybe
Carlin.
take our microphone into the players' room because that knocks Lukas Wenig out and it takes Thibault Tricole through to the semi-finals, keeping his 100% record of getting through the groups on Saturday night. But Gavin Carlin take a bow with that 170 finish. It's a 4-3 win and he wins Group 1 with an emphatic punch. Now we collect our breath, come back after the break and we see who wins Group number 2.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series here from the live lounge in Portsmouth. And what a finish we have just seen to Group 1, where Gavin Carlin has won 4-3 against Lukas Wenig, courtesy of a big fish finish. These are the stats from the game at 84.88 average for Carlin. 36.36% on the doubles, courtesy of 4 from 11 on the outer ring. Lukas Wenig 3 from 16, 18.75 percentage checkout rate. But it is that 170 that has sent the Frenchman Thibault Tricole through to the semi-finals. Formidable. So let's conclude Group 2 now. It's a battle between Josh Payne and Mike Warburton. And this is a scenario for those of you who got pen and paper at home. Josh needs 2 legs to qualify through to the semi-finals. Any win and he will top the group. Mike Warburton needs to win 4-1 or better if he is to progress through to the semi-finals. And the man who's got the easiest time of it all is Scott Baker because, well, he's already through. Let's see how the pool stages are going to finish in the company of Chris Mason and Paul Nicholson.
Welcome back to the Night of the Abacus. And it continues right here because great job from Henry there in giving us a little French lesson on the old formidable. You're right, Henry. Magnifique for Thibault Tricole. We'll see him in the semi-finals now in semi-final number 2. But Gavin Carlin will play in semi-final 1. But who will fill their spots in the semi-finals as well from Group 2? Where will Scott Baker be? He's going to be through. But who's he going to play? It does depend on what Josh does. And ultimately, it is all about what Warby does as well. Warby needs to win by 4 legs to 1 or better to qualify. It's that simple. So if Josh gets 2 legs, he qualifies. If he gets 3, he wins the group.
Thanks for clearing that one up. Well, you would have missed Henry. Gave us a bit of German in the week as well. Anything I know in German is 5 beer
Hey,
bitte.
I think it's Josh to throw first. Game on.
Well,
3. Yeah, 2 beers, please.
one thing we have to say is that
Saves me saying it twice. That's why I used to get 2 at once. Or I was just greedy.
97.
one thing we can say about Lukas Wenig tonight, unfortunately, is that he was not ausgezeichnet. He was not excellent. He played poorly tonight, and the Group A winner will leave Week 10 without
100.
that coveted Champions Week spot.
Is that what happens when you spend so much time on the Euro Tour with Dan Dawson?
Oh, yes.
Of course, he's a fluent German speaker, isn't he?
Pretty much now, yeah. He's a good guy to have with you. Josh has played his fair bit of Euro Tour darts in his career, but
140.
maybe you would say in his PDC career and the European Tour, he's underachieved. But when it comes to Warburton, he's only just had a taste of PDC darts this year. He's
100.
become a bit of Super Series furniture. He's played so many matches over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, hasn't he? He understands the format, and he does enjoy
41.
the format. You don't have to ask him twice to come back.
But this is 2 players going at it who are having their second attempt in stage 1 here at the MODUS Super Series in 2022.
85.
It's pretty much last chance saloon for both of them.
And the knee-jerk reaction after Warby got thumped for 1
140.
is that he's 13-8 to win this match. It wasn't anywhere near 13-8 before the off.
Now this looks good.
140.
miss than hit.
Joshua McGuire, 83.
This will be a big time 2-dot kill. That looks about as perfect as it gets. Double 8.
Game
And a
shot
very
the
good
first
protection
leg. Josh Payne.
from that 83, which gives him a 15-darter. And the ideal start. Only 1 more leg needed for Josh Payne
Second
to
leg is
guarantee
Mike
his
to throw
spot
first.
in the last 4 in Week 10.
If you are watching on Sporty Stuff TV for the first time, welcome along to the action. If you're outside of the UK and watching via our online darts YouTube channel, make sure you head over to the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel, because
58.
Crossover will be happening over the next couple of weeks as the rebranding continues.
I suppose in Mike's part of the world, we'd have to call it the
80.
U-Tube. There's a bit of a Gavin and Stacey joke for you. I haven't made any jokes tonight about Ryan Reynolds or McElhinney because those two Americans who actually
93.
own Wrexham Football Club.
And they got a great win against Oldham today, the 95th minute winner.
Something like that.
And the 2 not a big win, pal.
Yes. Very, very happy.
Yeah, we
Just as happy with
100.
the win and the fact that Mr. Mitrovic didn't get a goal because he's one of our ex-players. But yeah, we'll take the 3 points. But right now, Josh is looking for the 2 points. And he would be still maybe the
56.
favourite going into the semis if he picks up another win. Just knows how to do it in this format. Warburton with 9 visits to Saturday night in his Super Series career.
58.
Payne with 8 this year. 2 of the most prolific winners that we have had over the last couple of seasons, going at it for 1 available spot.
96.
All the off tonight. Payne was a short price, 7-4. Lukas Wenig not far behind, half a point, 3-1. Well, no, more than half a point, 3-1.
97.
5-1 Warby, 6-1 Tricole, Baker 7s, Gavin Carlin 8s.
Well, the man from Germany who has the initials LW has been caught LBW. He's out.
Love it.
Oh, now it's only 21 left.
5-8-8, surely. There's the 5, and it was a nicely placed 5.
50.
That was a badly thrown dart because that looked like to be
Joshua required
the
58.
upright that separates the 16s and the 8s.
I'd love to have seen the slow-mo on that one. Josh Payne looking to give him
Game
exactly
shown the
that.
second leg.
And when you see
Josh
Josh
Payne.
is starting to find doubles with ease, that is a bad sign, not just for Mike Warburton, but for the rest of the field. But what we can tell you now
Feel like it's
is that Josh
to
Payne
throw
is in the
first.
semi-finals.
Or bad news for Warby is that's a breaker throw.
97.
Warby's toast is getting burnt.
Nobody likes burnt toast. Such an
60.
intensity about the way that Warburton plays, but he knows that he needs everything to go his way from here.
Do you think he just needs to soften that throw a little bit?
27.
Are you referring to Josh?
No.
To Mike?
Yeah. Although there's just nothing really wrong with it. You just look at it
60.
from some angles and you think maybe it could be just take a little bit of intensity out of it. And
I have an idea about his throw. I don't know what you think about this, but the way that he delivers those darts every
40.
time, and that camera angle was perfect for this. Just wonder if he found a way to get these darts to land flat, that maybe he could stack the darts better in the 60, and of course he's going to hit a maximum now. Don't listen to me, Mike.
180.
Don't listen to me. You just do your thing.
so I'm just looking for something that maybe allow him
44.
to just, because the game's in the locker. I mean, he has got some serious levels, and both these players have. And when you look at that extensive list of 105 plus averages, you know, their numbers are scattered all over the place.
100.
Yeah, Josh's personal best in excess of 113 this year. Last year, Mike with one of the performances of 2021 in excess of 115. And the funny
59.
thing was, that
Might require
115
101.
should have been 120 plus.
Yep, he missed darts at doubles. It's all about the evolution of a player's B game, isn't it? That's
69.
probably the kind of angle I'm thinking of, just so he can improve. There's nothing wrong with the A game, it's just all about improving the level of his B game,
98.
which is key
Might
going
require
forward, and I know
32.
he has lots of ambition. like Josh, they'll be chasing their tour card in January.
Double 4.
24. Joshua 136.
You sense that the air has come out of the tyres of the man from North Wales. Just to remind you that Warburton needed to win by 4 legs to 1 or better to qualify.
8.
It's not been his night. Josh Payne just needs 1 more leg to win the group. But he will have to wait a little bit longer.
Warburton.
He doesn't get a look at that 91. Interesting dynamic about this game right now because you sense that Warburton knows his fate.
Yeah, absolutely. And that leg was a perfect example of, you know, there was a 180 in the leg and it was still a 20 darter.
Luke, lessen the lights a little bit, please. Can we sort the lights out, please?
There may have been an issue with the
4-legged
lights being a little bit too bright, the ones that shine in the direction of the players.
Yeah, I think some of the lights that
60
shine towards the audience may have just flickered under the stage a little bit there.
I think they did. It went very bright. Maybe someone just accidentally clipped a button or one of the many thousands of buttons in the gallery.
Yeah, dart players are very sensitive to light because when they go into practice rooms, they have very nice conditions to get used to the lights around that certain room. But when you go onto the stage,
60.
it's a lot brighter. And if you're not used to that, you can find yourself adjusting over a 3 or 4 minute period. And if you don't adjust quickly, you could have lost the match already.
That's what the sunglasses were for then, Nico.
Oh, yeah. I did ask if I could keep them on. And the late Tommy Cox said, don't be stupid.
85.
As direct as ever, Tommy. The stories I have for Tommy, I just couldn't possibly say on air. But he was a wonderful character.
180.
Really, really funny fella. Driest of sense of humours, didn't he?
He had a lot of fun with the other officials.
Didn't take fools gladly, that's for sure.
100. Joshua 164.
Now Josh, 6 darts and 164. And that will make sure that you win the group and Scott does not. Winning this group
60
will give you a semi-final against Thibault Tricole, who is very much cock-a-hoop right now.
French
140. Joshua
Coq of that, actually. Now 104. We're looking at the 16s for this. Wanted to get 4 of them, but he's magnetized to that 7 segment here. He's only got 28 points there.
20.
48.
Double 8.
Require 56.
Oh, all beat to hold.
There is a different scenario that's coming into this game if Mike hits this double 10. And he does hit it. And that scenario is as such. Scott Baker will win the group if Warburton wins this match by 4 legs to 2. Now, Warby can't go through, but he can influence who wins the group and who finishes second.
Fair play to Warby, and it's something that I've enjoyed from all the players in these situations, the integrity and their commitment to still trying to win, even though his night is over.
100.
I just found it hard playing this sort of round-robin darts when you knew your days were numbered.
And most of the time when Josh plays in this format, he's leading the charge. He's been one of the best front runners of the last couple of years. His win percentage for the week is above 90%.
140.
All he needs to do, and I say this quite loosely, just win another 3 matches and there will be the £5,000 bonus in your place in Champions Week, and you will be back in a couple of weeks.
140.
Someone with such high ambition as Josh Payne That will put a whole different spin on 2023, that's for sure.
100, Joshua, 136.
He's already had this finish in this match, but he didn't get the treble that time, did he? He's got them both this time for double eight. And consider that leg done with a real flourish, a 12 darter from JP, which does win in the group. So he's going to be playing Thibault Tricole in match number 8 tonight. A great mouth-watering fixture.
Game on.
So we now know our semi-final lineup. It will be Gavin Carlin against Scott Baker in the first semi-final.
And our second semi
100
will be this man here, Josh Payne. Up against the French touch. Will he have the touch in the semi-final? Thibault Tricole is going to have some touch.
There you can see the averages from this game. Again, Josh Payne just putting in a very typical performance. We talked about his proclivity to win matches this week, but he hasn't even been playing his best.
What?
He's averaging 91 here in a week where he's averaged 89, but throughout the year, he's been over the 90 mark the whole time.
Yeah, over 91. And he's pretty much on par with that here. Consistency personified.
And just to paint that picture a little bit, before the night began,
140.
Josh Payne had played, and please soak this up, 157 games of best of 7 darts and was averaging 91.19.
Might give up 161.
Over 150 matches. That's an astonishing effort.
It is. There isn't many with higher than that who have played that sample size of games.
95.
2022, when you think of the MODUS Super Series, the best players, Josh Payne's probably on the podium with Jim McEwen.
Mike requires 66.
Well, there's a long list I can think of, and 9 of them are already qualified for Champions of Champions. Your Charles Barstows, your Robert Owen, of course. He can't be ignored with his success.
Mike Warburton.
Well, despite a max in the leg from Josh, it's Warby who holds in 15.
7th and final against Josh to throw first.
To a decider.
We'll go to a decider for the second time in the group matches for the Week 10 finals. And in order to get the winner from this one, I'm going to quote the commitments. I'm going to wait until the midnight hour because we've just passed 12 o'clock local time. We're not far away from the semis now. Things are just starting to get exciting. What's been a really intriguing group phase tonight, miss?
Well, the fear was, Nico, all along was whether Warby was going to get out the blocks quick enough. And that was his downfall, and he just left himself too much to do. A real quick-fire thrower like Baker is always going to hit the stage running. When I think back to Monday in Group A, didn't need too much warming up time, and tonight that was the case. He averaged 85 against Warby in the opening match, and that was more than enough. Warby averaging just shy of 80.
81.
And the improvement is evident here for Warby. He's averaging, well, just shy of 92. Josh Payne, 92.05.
Fascinating to me that the first semi-final tonight is going to be 2 people who are not coming straight off a match. That's going to be good for both of them, which means that Payne and Tricole will also have a break before their semi-final. I think that's good. Josh Payne just wants to keep winning. He wants to do exactly what Gavin Carlin did by winning the 2 matches.
97.
Just not in the same kind of style.
Joshua
Tops, it is for Josh Payne to complete our group matches and finish off with a win in 15 darts.
In
it goes. No surprise there for Josh Payne. A rock-solid performance, a high finish of 136.4 from 7 on the doubles, and an end average of 91.93. The night is over for Warby, as it is for Lukas Wenig. We're going to take a short break and we're going to be back with our semi-finals 1 and 2. Up next will be Gavin up against Scott.
Welcome back to the live lounge here in Portsmouth, where we've reached the semi-final stages of the MODUS Super Series, and I'm happy to say, to reflect upon all of the group action, I'm happily joined by the asset Paul Nicholson up on the balcony. There's only one place to start, and that is the big fish from Gavin Carlin to seal Thibault Tricole's place in the Fab Final Four.
The only way that could have been better was if he needed to do that for himself. But the fact that he did that for somebody who, over the last 12 months, here at the MODUS Super Series and at other events around Europe, has constantly been surviving certain matches. We were both at Lakeside when he was dodging match shots and trickling his way through to the final, but he's done it again. You just got to be there to have a chance, and his 100% record of making it through the groups continues.
However, the question is now, can he go one step beyond, make it through to the final and possibly win the pot? Does he have to improve on certain elements to do that? It was kind of a case of one game to the second.
Yeah, you could see the despair in game 2 from Thibault, but the start in game 1 was very encouraging. Now that he's been given this lifeline, maybe, as Chris Mason would say, his name's on pot lad. But the fact of the matter is, if he can play the way he did at the start of the night and just maintain that, he's got every chance. But he's in the second semi-final against Josh Payne, who has not lost tonight. It's going to be a very tricky assignment.
And Josh Payne, the informed player going into finals night, he's kept that form up going into this evening's play. And you just get the sense, if someone's going to win this title this week, they're going to have to get past Josh Payne.
That has to be the case. And if Thibault was to do the job in the semi-finals, you would fancy him in the final potentially. But Josh is just a machine. Over the last 8-9 months playing with us, he's had this incredible consistency. He's had some near misses, but he's had success as well. And I just get the feeling that he really relishes the job on Saturday nights here.
Scott Baker is first up in the semi-finals against Gavin Carlin. Scott was the only player actually in the final round of fixtures who could actually sit back, relax, and I suppose enjoy the action and not endure it. Does it, for him, kind of the fact that he had that time to relax, is that a pro or con in your view?
I don't think it means much with Scott. I think he takes everything like Teflon. It just bounces off him and he just goes on with it. He's one of those annoyingly relaxed creatures who just does it whether it's a loss or a win or something in between. But the fact that he was given that time to relax and prepare mentally for the semi-finals, regardless of whether it was the first or the second one, it just gives him that level of comfort that nobody else had.
Shall we get on with it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's watch some more darts. It's semi-final time here at the Super Series. Let's get the players on the stage. This man is going to make the run up to the commentary box to join Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, chaps. I'm very much looking forward to this one. Is Gavin Carlin against Scott Baker. These two, of course, know each other very, very well. Their 6th meeting this week, Monday. It was Carlin just edging out Baker. 4-3, despite Baker averaging 96.58. Tuesday, Baker getting revenge, winning 4-2
Gavin to throw
with
first.
a 97.86, winning on Wednesday
4-0
with a 96.97. Being edged out 4-3 again with a higher average. Average 94.40, lost 4-3. Friday,
121.
Baker winning 4-2. In fact, that was his only win of the session.
70.
Delighted Paul as like the hot stepper. Higher down the stairs, getting your steps in, pal. We need it with all that gouty food you were eating last week.
Oh, thanks.
100.
Yeah, it's a really good segue there, actually, because you think about Josh Payne's walk-on song is actually Here Comes the Hot Stepper by Eni Kamosi. I don't know whether remembering that track makes us old or young.
I was going to get that in, but I couldn't remember the artist.
Yeah, it's a bit of a one-hit wonder. Unlike our dart players in the semi-finals, you can't be a one-hit wonder
85.
and get through this week 10. I suppose it's a qualifier for the Champions Week. Scott Baker
140.
and Gavin Carlin are now in a knockout scenario. And we don't have a third, fourth place playoff anymore on a Saturday night. It's all about this to get to the final. And if you lose, you're done.
There's quite something about how I've written this down, Gavin and Baker, because there's a guy in the Western Midlands, a very good dart player, who Scott will know very well. They're not related. As he needs double eight and hits it for a 15 dart leg, who's called Gavin Baker. And he's actually a very well-known Tom Jones impersonator. Really good pal of mine. Played pairs with him, played league with him. Really tidy player back in the day. And for his birthday, I took him to see. This is how long we've been mates. I took him to see
59.
Anthony Joshua on debut at the O2 when he turned pro.
On debut?
Yeah. His debut night as a
140.
pro. He had a wonderful night out there, down there.
Now, I am right in what I say about Scott Baker. He does actually have some vintage motorcycles, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got one of those Lambrettas, I do believe, which is associated with that
59.
movement. Apart from
100.
the Angels, I don't think there's any other movement associated with motorbikes. Not that you could really call a Lambretta a motorbike. They're like a hairdryer, aren't they?
Now, one thing that these guys have got in common is that they have not won a weekly title with us in the last 18 months, but they do have in common the fact that they have been second. That's their best effort. One of them could potentially go one better this evening. Oh, how they would love to do so.
Yeah, won't want to be coming second here. It means BFH.
59. Gavin, you require 57.
Tops, he likes it up here. Oh, the commentator's curse is alive and well tonight.
Double top repelled right there. Like a very strong magnet.
25. Scott, you require 142.
This would sting. Oh, double 11.
131.
What a great attempt there from Scott.
I'm going to say for the second time tonight we see double 11 go in.
Surely this time. Surely now.
Game shot on the second leg.
What a lovely guide that second dart was. And like the words uttered in the movie Top Gun from the mid-80s, there are no points for second place. This is all about getting to the top of the tree in this game and having that chance at the end of the night. Now, £1,250 guaranteed as a bonus for this stage of week 10. You can double that
60.
if you win this match. And then you could double it again in the final. We're talking about proper prize money now after a long week of effort. 6th consecutive day for both players.
Over
140.
£1.1 million paid out to the players across the season now. What a great place amateur darts is in.
Has it ever been better?
No, never. I'd have loved this back in the day. Closest we got, I suppose, was that Champions League darts, but that was... How many matches was that a day? That was
lots.
Yeah, it was 8, wasn't it?
On the third leg.
155 out from Gavin Carlin. He's turned things around. He was one shot away from being 2-0 down, Mace, with that 142 from Baker, but now he's turned it around and he's in front.
Well, I was talking about Gavin Carlin and creating his own little highlight reel. Well, he's created one tonight in 2 matches, a 170 and a 155.
How's your Gavin Carlin bingo card looking right now?
99.
It's got a couple of very big highlighter marks on it. But maybe the biggest weapon that Scott Baker has in his arsenal is that ability to just get on with the job instead of using up that mental bandwidth like some players do. He just swats it away and gets on with the job as long as he's still got the possibility of winning.
43.
He will acknowledge his opponent quite graciously. He just gets on and plays the game. Most certainly doesn't play the player, but this is right up there with one of the best performances we have seen from Carling all week.
There you have the proof. First maximum, but 3 figures after 3 legs, and it could well be a 3-1 lead. If he finds the ball, he went for it.
Aggressive darts. That shows you how confident he's feeling, Paul. The fact that he didn't even contemplate taking a sand wedge.
Gavin, you require
put him one within a couple of feet.
Double 8. Got plenty of time.
17.
And that was, you would somewhat hesitantly say, was a constructive miss. The last thing he wanted to do was leave himself on 2s.
87.
Yeah, he's just put one out there, hasn't he?
Gavin, you require 8.
Blame him for that. Oh, double 4.
Game
3-1, and
Gavin Carlin
backs up the dart previously that was just thrown on the outside of the wire. Let's put it that way.
5th leg, it's Gavin to throw first.
Gavin's favourite is for Sunday, because it is Sunday now.
I wouldn't have a Scooby, and I'm baffled how you would even know.
Well, it's got to be a cannon of lamb.
60.
How did you not see that coming?
Being a foodie, I know that's disastrous.
You missed an open goal there.
And I'll give you pre-warning. Don't talk about food with Matthew Edgar. You will be repulsed.
100.
He loves a dirty, cheap burger more than anything.
31.
And pot noodles.
You can't mention pot noodles and darts without the great Richie Burnett, who used to heat them up with radiator water. If only that was
58.
True. Yeah. It's absolutely true.
Oh, I do miss Richie here at the Super Series.
140.
He played a lot of games. In fact, I think he was the most experienced player in 2021 before he got his tour card back.
Well, he will openly say that was the reason why he got his tour card back. Hope you're well, pal.
And both of these guys have held on to
41.
PDC tour cards. Scott had his for a couple of years and only just missed out on keeping it. Carlin got his and had a really good start to his first season, but it didn't seem to go his way. But a reinvention of his rhythm and his pace, it seems to be starting to come together.
42.
I think you can write a chapter in your book, Paul, on how you lost yours. Well, you could probably write a whole book on it.
60.
I lived every moment with you. Dear, oh dear.
Yeah, that was a few days that I'll never forget.
Same.
134. It's got your 129.
Two magnetised to each other there in the 57 bed, but it's getting a pummeling right here.
72, yeah.
So 72's left. Make a double 12 and make that
shot
3 legs to
leg.
2.
Scott
Oh, a
Baker.
sensational finish to deny Gavin Carlin a match shot. That was world class from the man known as the Mod.
6th leg, it's Scott
And
to throw
more
first.
importantly for Scott, not only
Game
does
on.
it keep him in the tie, it was a break of throw. He now has the darts to level things up.
121.
And that shot on 129 is very similar to that 128 shot, isn't it? You almost, if you hit a trouble, you got to hit another. He certainly did that.
180.
No problem on the trebles there for Carling. He picks off a
140.
second 180. No 180s so far for Baker.
Carlin just keeps hitting that 60.
He went through spells towards the back end of Group A.
123.
And he did, well, significantly improved more than anybody else.
140.
Baker's done really well to get to the finish first here. He's been under so much pressure over the last leg and a half to try and give
46.
himself enough
So you
breathing
require
space.
100.
He doesn't have a great deal.
Carlin scored 303 in 6 darts there.
60.
Well,
Gavin, you require
he's found the 170. He's had a
152.
155. Can he win this one with the 152
This is actually easier than the 155.
and the 170?
58.
It proves too much.
Got you require 40.
Are we going to have a one-leg shootout to see who wins semi-final 1? Double 10.
30.
Oh, they could be vital. Vital misses.
You require 94.
Head in hands type of misses for the mod. And Carlin has that decision to make. He'll look at the bull. He'll look at the 19s. He will look at the bull again.
49.
And he can't finish this match on the centre
Scott, you
button.
require 10.
Oh, double 5. Last chance saloon. For Scott. Double 2.
6.
Well, what an opportunity
Gavin, you
that was for a level
45.
game, and we know in a last leg shootout for a place in the final, anything could have happened.
Scott is saying to himself right now, I've had my chance. Carlin has his for the final. He finds double 10 and he will play in the very last match of week 10 in stage 1. Now we have to find out who he will play against. Will it be Josh Payne? Will it be Thibault Tricole? But there you can see Carlin with that 155 high checkout. It was a match that did have its fair share of good checkouts, but it did have its misses as well. And those vital missed starts at double for Scott Baker in that 6th leg ultimately are what cost him the contest. We'll see him again in the future, but we'll see Carlin in the final. It's Payne against Tricole after this break.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series here from the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, where Gavin Carlin is our first finalist in Week 10, beating Scott Baker by 4 legs to 2 to get there, thanks in part to a scintillating 1.55 checkout. Scott Baker nearly changed the game himself with a finish of 1.29, a quality affair. Carlin also hitting the game's only 2 maximum. So he is the first player through to the £5,000 game that will end Week 10 and qualify 1 player through to Champions Week. Every single man from here on in has a 33% chance of doing so. Our second semi-final is about to get underway. We are going to see Josh Payne up against Thibault Tricole. It is a real heavyweight clash. Let's hand back to 2 heavyweight commentators, Paul Nicholson and Chris Mason.
Well, thank you for that, Henry. I've been out the gym a while I've been focusing on other matters in hand, but I won't take it personally.
I'm a super middleweight. I don't know what he's on about.
Yeah, you're like a racing snake, man. All that yoga, that hot yoga. Well, third meeting between the two, Paul. They had a hell of a contest on Thursday, didn't they?
Didn't they just? And I suppose when we boil down all the statistics and the shoulda, woulda, couldas, but Thibault Tricole is the only person to have beaten Josh Payne this week. Now, is that going to play on the mind a little bit of JP? This is a really interesting semi-final.
It certainly did in their return tie. Thursday, Thibault Tricole beat Josh Payne. I'll give you Josh Payne's stats. He was beaten 4-1 with a 98 average, missed 1 dart at a double. Was reduced to just 2 darts at a double in the whole match. Tricole, 101.79, 1/180, 80% on the doubles and a 104 out. Now, when they had their return tie on the Friday,
96.
Josh won 4-3, but fell over the line. He missed 13 darts at a double in the match. Still averaged over 90, mind you, which he does seem to do as standard.
Do we need to reiterate the fact in the early hours of Sunday that Thibault is pretty fortunate to be in these semi-finals because of that 170 finish by Gavin Carlin, who is now in the final?
Well, you know my favourite saying. I think you mentioned it after the group games. If your name's on pot, lad, well, we'll find out. Because Gavin Carlin had to
42
come through some tense moments to qualify for tonight's finals.
You know what they say in gym work, Chris? When
140.
you might be doing something that includes maybe 12, 15 reps. They always say you get the results from the last 3 reps.
43.
Well, gents, we're into the last 3 reps. Now you get the results from this match and the next one. This is where it hurts.
60.
This is where you're a bit tired and your mind's a bit jumbled. But if you can get the results here, oh, it'll make the week so worth it.
Yeah, you have to go through the pain barrier. All that lactic acid.
80.
It's all the adrenaline in the brain, isn't it? Coursing through the veins.
Good lie, that one. Just guided over the top for Tricole.
Game
and
shot
it is 1-0 to him with a 15-dart break throw. I've been watching him play for a good couple of years now. When he made his World Championship debut at the Indigo Room at the O2, you just thought that maybe this guy was going to take French steel-tip darts to the next level. 100. He's done so, but he's got company now, and I think that will make him even better.
Absolutely. Well, no doubt they will, and have done in the past, travel together.
29.
While they're travelling together, they can then practice together, and they'll then take each other to another level. But we had the advantage, of course, of seeing him
140
up close and personal during his time in the Super Series prior to that run to the final in the WDF Worlds.
99.
He picked up on it straight away. That flat lie allows him to stack the dart over.
He does have his own
81.
unique style, but it's very much a feel throw. Getting that dart placed inside the fingertips, and
that's why occasionally we'll have a flyer, because there is a lot going on.
There's a bit of twisting going on. He does get that dart quite outside of normal range. It almost on some level reminds me of Joe Cullen.
85.
Yeah, I said the same in the week. You'd like to be 75% as good as Joe. You'll have a good career.
Yeah, he's not had a bad year.
180.
Yes, years
Thibault
goes.
Tricole, 95.
My goodness.
What a superb maximum that was from the maximum. But it's 20 in ball for Double T,
70.
who just misses out
Josh
on the 95 checkout.
59.
Josh Payne, who put that pressure on with that maximum. I think he deserves a shot at tops, potentially. He does get one, eventually.
39.
But he needed a second one.
And Thibault loves the ball, of course, coming from a
25.
predominantly soft tip background.
2-8.
Game show
And
the
he's
second
2-0
leg.
up. He's doing it
Thibault
again to Josh
Tricole.
Payne. Could he be the maximum's kryptonite here in week 10? Is Josh Payne going to
Feel like it's
fall
Josh to throw first.
towards the
Game
final
on.
hurdle the same way as Dave Pallett, who lost out in the final in week 1 and the final in week 7, losing out to Robert Owen and
100.
Graham Usher? Imagine that feeling, Mace. Losing in 2 finals to get to Champions Week.
So you're going to remind me of my 2 semi-finals. I'm
60.
just getting over that now. Just about to slam my head in the door. That's me not getting any sleep tonight. Yeah, well, it's just a...
137.
Well, it's a head wreck. We all know what it's like when you feel like you're in the form, you feel like you're playing well enough, and it just won't drop
100.
for you.
We've also seen it from the other side of the coin. The people who get through, the sheer ecstasy we saw from Conan Whitehead in getting his way through
And
in
Graham
week 8.
Usher.
100.
Graham Usher is just such an incredible story. One of the most exciting players that I've ever watched. And he still had the game of the year.
180.
The
Josh Tricole,
performance of the year.
164.
But this will be something from Josh. Another one of those will be handy. For the bull. what an effort.
139. Timmy Tricole,
He
161.
made the bull wire shudder. Oh, hello. Treble 17. Oh, for the bull for 3-0.
120. Josh
I
Tricole,
think the words
25.
going through the mind of Josh Payne right there were, you've got to be kidding me. Double 2 is a big shot.
You'd be saying that if
Game
it doesn't
shoulder
go in,
third
but
leg.
it does go in.
Josh Payne.
Well, we may reflect on that double 2 in 5 or 6 minutes or so, and that could
Look,
well
it's
turn
Thibault
out
to
to be
throw first.
absolutely huge, Paul.
41.
Josh was saying to me a little bit earlier in this stage that there is no way he's not missing out.
180.
There's no way he's missing out on Champions League. They were his words.
Well, he's as good as his words with that max. The trail
140.
2-0. We were beginning to fear the worst.
Everybody wants to be the first. Now, as long as we are in this venue racing MODUS Super Series darts,
140.
Kieran Tian will always be the first person to win a week on this stage. But who will be the first to win
41.
a Champions Week on this stage?
Bill Taylor made a career of being firsts, didn't he? Especially names on trophies.
140.
Forced that dart in. Created an angle.
If you can't see an angle,
125.
Use the force.
Just require 41.
use the force, Josh. 9 for double 16 to bring us into a best of 3 leg contest.
Game show.
Excellently
before
done. He didn't
Josh
give
Payne.
himself a great deal of comfort with that first effort because it was nowhere near. But I suppose it wasn't in the way.
Fifth leg, it's Josh to throw first.
Down 2-0.
Game on.
In 15 and 17, the response from 2-0 down is 2 legs converted in just 27 darts.
82.
Just another good mid-90s average game. And how many times have we seen at this time on a Sunday morning, Mace, the players are getting a bit tired
140.
and A bit lethargic after playing many consecutive days. Thibault's playing his 6th day. In fact, his 7th, because he's playing in Sunday now.
174.
But the adrenaline is starting to kick in. And the averages are getting higher.
100.
It's the thought of winning that $5,000 and being in Champions Week to try and get your hands on the £20,000. It is a game changer for all these players. You've got to think about this.
135. Josh
He got away with that one.
105.
Single 20 doesn't leave a finish. Would have left 166. May not matter.
85.
Now,
Thibault, you're at 126.
it could have a huge bearing on this semi-final. Treble 19 leaves the bull. It makes no difference. And Payne should retake the lead.
58.
For the first time
Josh
in
record 20.
the semi-final. Use that. Oh, back up at double 5. This is no gimme.
10.
Reminiscent
Thibault, you
of
require
the final
68.
in week 4. The other kind of shots he missed. And he was punished on that occasion by Daryl Pilgrim, who qualified. Thibault poises.
No
and he
score.
busts the lot.
Josh required 10.
Well, just a matter of millimetres north into double 18 instead of double 4. Can he use it? Oh, that went in the 5.
5.
The number 5.
Thibault, you require
That must have been a
68.
flyer.
Yeah, he put a bit too much on it. I think he was just trying to crush in off the dart. This is the problem for Thibault. He's now only getting 1 dart because of the bust.
36. Josh, you require 5.
What a leg this has been.
Pressure.
We've had the excellence. Now we've got the nerve shredders. Double 2, you said, Mace, was a big double in this match. It could be again. And it's so again. And the first show
Josh Payne.
of real testosterone from the Maximum there to give himself the lead.
Well, he could have been in all sorts of trouble there. Should have been all sorts of trouble
So if it
because
gets Thibault to throw first.
Thibault wins that leg. Instead of being at the hockey here, it would have been to win it. Now he's here to save it
45.
and only starts with 45.
The Frenchman's season has been categorized by being in these kind of situations. His entire Lakeside run in
100.
April was like this. It was all to the wire.
He kept finding a way to win all the way until the final.
26.
But you sense with visits like 45 and 26 that the guillotine may be close to lowering.
121.
French word as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
100.
You may have seen a few magic tricks from people who can circumnavigate the guillotine coming down and still have their head intact. Maybe the
60.
French touch has got a little bit of magic up his sleeve.
Oh, at the moment, his head is in the bucket. 110 behind minus these.
41.
And the poor scoring visits continue. He's down to 289 with visits of 45, 26, a ton and 41. The scores you'd expect to see down the dog and duck on a Tuesday night.
Josh Payne will expect now to get darts
140.
to win the semi-final,
Joshua
to be in
80.
another final.
This leg was a pure hangover from the previous one for
Good
Thibault. But
shot on the
it's pure
mark.
elation
Josh
for
Payne.
Josh Payne and more frustration for the Frenchman as he's edged out in our second semi-final. So our final will be Gavin Carlin against Josh Payne.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series here from the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, where the final for Week 10 is now set as Gavin Carlin will take on Josh Payne for the £5,000 first prize and that oh-so-crucial spot in Champions Week. Paul Nicholson is alongside me to look back at the two semi-finals. Let's begin with the one we've just seen, a semi-final which ultimately hinged on that fifth leg.
It did, because chances were falling the way of Josh Payne and for Thibault Tricole. Unfortunately for the Frenchman, he wasn't able to take his opportunity, and he'll be thinking about his shots at double in that leg for quite a few days now, I would suspect. But Josh had his chances. Ultimately, he took his chance in leg 5, and leg 6 was a bit easy after that.
Josh Payne, who's on a winning run here at the Super Series, as you can see, a 91.5 average. The checkout's kind of skewed by that fifth leg where there was missed doubles at 2 apiece. So we know who he's going to play in the final as well. Gavin Carlin, he won for the first semi-final against Scott Baker. And this is a huge, huge game, this, for Gavin.
It is. You consider what he's done over the last 3 or 4 seasons. When he made his way to the PDC Tour, there were a lot of people who didn't know a great deal about him. He had a very good start to his career, but he wasn't able to sustain that. But now he's reinvented his game a little bit. He's almost starting from scratch with a little bit of a reputation. But the way he's performed this week, very, very good. Without being the man, but now he can be the man if he gets one win against Josh Payne, who has lost only 1 match out of, 13 games now?
It's incredible, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, as far as win percentages go for a week, I haven't seen anything as good as this, apart from maybe Jim McEwen in week 4.
Well, the final of Week 10 is coming up shortly, but let's look ahead to what we're going to see next week in Week 11. There's some real quality names in this field. Let's go through Group A first, because me and you are going to be doing the first 2 days of this on commentary together. Daniel Klose, Greg Ritchie, who's come back into some form over the last few months. Mark McGeaney, former Lakeside World finalist. Peter Jakes, a player we've seen many times over the years. Rob Collins and Ryan Murray also in that field. I think they're the two I think we're probably intrigued by more than anyone else. Yeah,
I'm intrigued by Ryan Murray, because when he's played a little bit earlier in the season with us, he didn't show us anywhere close to what he can possibly do. So a little bit of redemption potentially for Ryan Murray, but I'm really interested to see Greg Ritchie back, the diminutive Scotsman who is very creative when it comes to the finishing. He's the only person that I know of in the history of the MODUS Super Series who has hit 120 with 3 double tops. So that tells you what he could possibly do.
The Super Series de Sousa. Group B, whoever drops into this is going to have a tough time. Robert Thornton, Ryan Palmer, Stephen Burton. Ouch.
Well, there you go. You've got the world senior champion there, and Robert Thornton. Burton is very dangerous, as we know. Ryan Palmer, the Lion from Bristol. Really looking forward to seeing him. But as far as the next one's concerned in Group C, I mean, Yanis Mustayevs.
I'm glad you said it.
Well, I think that was right, but I believe he's a very, very talented Latvian.
Indeed, and he's going to be joined by Jordan Brooks making a debut here. I think a player that we've been looking forward to seeing for a long time. And Martin Adams will return to this stage as well.
Yeah, I mean, let's face facts. Martin Adams coming back here. This is the sole reason why a lot of people are going to tune in, because they still love to watch Adams, and he could still make it to Champions Week.
I thought it was to listen to you and Murph on commentary next week.
Of course it's about Wolfie and Thornton. They're 2 of the greats of the game.
Indeed, and we've got a great final as well coming up. It's Gavin Carlin up against Josh Payne. And before play gets underway, Paul, I'm going to ask you the most horrible question of the night. Who's going to pick up the 5K?
I'm going to say Josh Payne seems to be on it this week. He's got this real steely determination to get the job done. And if he was to lose this game, he'd feel just as bad as he did at the end of week 4 when he lost to Daryl Pilgrim. So redemption is on his mind.
Well, let's get it on. It's time for the final here at the MODUS Super Series. It's Gavin Carlin up against Josh Payne in the company of this man here and Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Henry. And here we have week 10, the finale. Gavin Carlin taking on Josh Payne. It is Gavin Carlin who won the ball and will throw first in the odd legs. As always, best of 7.
Okay, first leg, it's Gavin to throw
first in legs 1, 3, 5 and 7 if required. And probably apart from the match that secured his tour card in seasons 20 and 21, this is without doubt one of his biggest matches. This is a £2,500 money racer. Winner getting 5k. Runner-up getting 2,500.
100.
The winner, of course, qualifying for Champions of Champions, where 1 of 12 will get their hands on the check for 20k. Well, Nico, whilst you were up there doing your TV stuff, I crunched a few numbers.
Is that what I could hear?
yeah, the cogs whirring.
180.
They are the averages tonight in the 3 matches for Gavin, and that's his end average.
140.
What do you make of those?
It tells you that maybe the favourite for this one is Josh Payne.
Yeah. So, match number 1, Gavin averaged 89.52. Match 2, 84.88. Match 3 to make the final, 88.27. An overall running average of 87.55. Compare this with Payne, 93.45, 91.93, 91.5. A running average pretty much bang on the number you mentioned, just shy of 92. Well, he's improved 92.29 across the evening.
And what I can tell from those numbers, Mace, is that it seems as if Josh Payne is around about a dart better
39
per leg tonight.
8.
And that could be telling on the finishes. Of course, experience
Game shown the
is
first
with
leg.
Payne, and that
Josh
is why
Payne.
he hits the stage running in this final. A 15 dart breaker throw. Gavin nowhere to be seen in
Second
that
leg
leg.
is Josh to throw first. Game on.
Let's go all the way back to the start of 2022. It was week 1, phase 1, as we used to call it.
100.
Josh Payne won the very first week. It was his very first week as a MODUS Super Series player because he'd just come off the tour.
180.
We just had our first 180 from Carlin in this match.
Didn't he beat Barstow in the final?
He did. The likes of Andy Jenkins, Scott Marsh and Richard North were there that night. Now, Payne made it to Champions Week and was 4th on that occasion. We've already talked about the fact that he always makes Saturday night when he comes here. It's an astonishing record, really. But he also won week 4 of phase 2. Didn't make it to the Champions Week finals that time. He didn't play in phase 3, but he won the Champions Week of phase 4.
60.
The record he has with those 3 weekly wins this year makes him arguably the player of the season because of that incredible record.
Well, that tees me up
100.
beautifully, because when you're talking of records, Josh Payne played Gavin Carlin in phase 4 Champions Week Group A.
43.
Which is now Group 1, of
Gavin,
course.
you've got
Yeah, Group A, which is
136.
now played over 3 days. Then we were playing it over 2. They won their first meeting 4-3 with a 98.25. Backed that up on the Wednesday with a 4-1 win with a 95 average.
Just so many great performances over 90. He just
31.
very rarely fails to register a very sizable performance. His consistency this year has been alarming.
The running averages are outstanding.
60. Gavin, you
Even when he's
require
missing that treble 20,
105.
the heat map that you could draw around that treble 20 bed is it's like an epicenter of brilliance around that 60
45.
bed.
Yeah, it's like that. Is it a Scolia board that maps your darts in the board? I'd like to see that with Josh Payne tonight. Seems to have been
98.
all round
Gavin,
it.
you require 60.
Here's a message for you, Gavin. Don't give him a shot. 555.
55.
That could be semi-fatal.
Josh, you
Well,
require
that's a
80.
sign of trying a little bit too hard. A bit too much adrenaline. He has not settled thus far. Tops for 2-0.
60.
If he has got a
Gavin,
miss
you
when he goes for the
require
outer ring,
5.
it's that he misses tops slightly low because of the way his darts behave in the air.
Yep.
That's a good single.
3.
But ultimately, that single
Josh
was in the
required
way
20.
of his needed target.
Oh, can he back up? The breaker throw.
Game
And
shot the
confirm it
second
with a
leg.
hold.
Josh
It wasn't
Payne.
pretty. It was a long old leg. But trust me, the one time the averages are irrelevant is in a final.
Feel like it's
Absolutely right.
Gavin
How
to
many
throw
times have we come
first.
to the final
Game
game
on.
of the week and it's been a bit of a scrubby contest, but the fact that so much is on the line still makes it a very good game to watch.
57.
And these two have got something very interesting in common. Back in the times when we had the phases in 2022,
84.
they were both runners-up in the first couple of weeks of Phase 4. Josh Payne losing out to Conan Whitehead in a game that he probably should have won.
140.
Carlin lost out to Robert Owen. And that was Gavin's best run in a week with us. He would love to go one better, but he's in serious trouble already.
60.
Although right now, Josh Payne is averaging 80.
100.
And Gavin Carlin will be aware that this is a subpar performance, and that gives you hope. Just having a word with himself.
81.
Is he asking too much of himself? Is there too much tension there? Should he just go with the flow a bit more?
Well, the fact that Carlin is
123.
the quicker of the two, we see it with Baker. They're not so affected by those pressure moments. That pulls in the throw of Payne. Gives him a lot of thinking time.
134. Gavin, you require 81.
Good layup in the end. And it forces Carlin to potentially go for 12 and bull, but he doesn't.
41.
He did that a
Joshua
little bit earlier on tonight, and it
142.
worked. But this is definitely going to be two treble 20s and double 11. Let's have a look. Well, look at Gavin in the background. He's got no idea because he's not even looking at what's
90.
happening on the board.
Gavin, you
Yes,
require
another
40.
top tip.
Ignorance is
Game
bliss.
shot on the third leg.
But more bliss
Gavin Carlin.
is when you hit your double. And that erases the gap to just one leg now.
Well, Josh still has the insurance policy.
Fourth leg, it's
of
Josh to throw
that
first.
breaker throw in leg
Game
one
on.
that came in 15 darts, but there's nothing between their performances at the moment when we look at the stats and break the numbers down.
87.
In fact, Gavin Carlin scored 6 scores of a ton or more, just 5.
134.
Make that 6. The averages, as you can see, nothing in it at all. Well, certainly nothing that would affect the
95.
visits.
It makes this leg really paramount because if Josh can get to 3-1, he's got more breathing space than
100.
Gavin.
And he gets 3 bites at the cherry, doesn't he?
Just at this stage of the week, we've got our referee, Owen Binks, who's doing his 104th match of the week.
58.
Great job by him. Great job by all the commentators and all of the backroom staff who put this MODUS Super Series together. Full kudos to everybody who will return
140.
come Monday morning to see who comes through week 11. And there were some interesting players in that list, wasn't there?
Yeah, it certainly was. It is a fascinating lineup. Looking forward to seeing Ryan Palmer, a fellow Bristolian, seeing how he takes to the stage. 127 for Gavin. Yeah, the people at home who watch on the Sporty Stuff TV
55.
platform and across the YouTube
Joshua
channel, you tend to see
161.
the players and Owen and Henry, and Abby, myself, you. Must say, congratulations this week to
41.
Matthew Edgar. Had a lot of
Gavin,
fun
you
with him.
require
You enjoyed it, didn't you?
72.
I did enjoy watching yourself and Matt having a few laughs and calling in the shots. Shots like this that are needed.
Game
Carlin
shot
is
the fourth
2-2
leg.
now. Payne has
Gavin
slowed down over the
Carlin.
last couple of legs. And Gavin has taken full advantage of it. We've now got a final on our hands.
And also a fellow
Fifth leg, it's
man
Gavin
from
to
the
throw
northeast.
first. Game on.
in Glendarren. Had the pleasure of working with him Saturday night. Thoroughly enjoyable. After our job, I think, Nico, isn't he? A little bit too good for my liking, as was Edgar. Not happy about that. I have to have a word.
125.
No, we need someone to give us a week off.
Well, Josh Payne is thinking right now he can't have seconds off. Carlin's found his mojo.
140.
Payne is forced into action with Carlin having the darts now, and we do have to say that throughout the night, people have had the throw based on previous positions and
26.
performance. Coming into this final, there was a bullseye shootout to determine who threw first, and Gavin won that.
Well, you know, I'm a great believer in fate.
59.
And in Group B, Gavin Carlin was in a spot of bother. It was Warby who was out in front
48.
after 2 nights. And it was Gavin just on 2 wins from 2.
81.
On evening 2. Gave him 10 points after making a fabulous start on the Thursday night.
30.
There was all sorts of permutations, and he just managed to squeak a couple of wins to secure his place in finals night.
And Josh had a 1 dart lead coming into this visit. And he
130.
stretches that margin very, very well with the equivalent of a 2 treble visit.
What I like about this ball is, despite
43.
that spirited fight back
Josh
where
McGuire, 91.
cross legs 3 and 4, Gavin Carlin was averaging 100. The panic button was not struck by Josh Payne. Treble 18 or treble 10.
He would like to leave a double here. And he's done an
51.
excellent job of that. It just eliminates any other thought process for when you come back. You know exactly what you want to do. You've done it a million times before. Do it once again.
59.
And this is to break
Josh
the
McGuire,
throw.
40.
Don't give shots on 170s to Carlin. He's already hit one tonight. But if he gets a second,
8.
this would make Josh
Gavin, you require
feel the pain.
170.
That was a huge miss at tops by hitting the single 1.
This would be absolutely remarkable. Hold on to your hats.
Well, he spiked it. Came out of his hand a bit soft. But the next 2 weren't too shabby.
Joshua McGuire, 32.
And he's applied the pressure and he's asked the question.
Game show on the
Josh Payne
fifth
has the answer.
Josh
And another
Payne.
release of emotion as it's a breaker throw. And Payne has the honour. Can he serve it out for a 4-2
Sixth leg
win?
is Josh to throw
4-2 has
first.
been the number over the last couple of games.
Game on.
Both semi-finals were won by that margin.
It's the magic number. The magic number in maybe 15 darts or so will be $5,000.
3 words that used to go through my mind in these kind of spots.
95.
I wouldn't even think about what I was throwing. It would just be about 3 words in my mind. Get it done.
Mine was
60.
4. Please get it done. Please don't go to 3-3.
Get a chance and take a chance.
Yeah.
45.
He knows how to do it. As you've said, he's done it 3 times already in Super Series, stroke Live League.
100.
And to return in just over a fortnight with the likes of Owen, Barstow, Hall, Pilgrim, Evans.
Nicholson, Mason.
180.
And look at that for a maximum. His second of the contest to give himself a 160-point lead. Carlin needs snookers.
134.
It's always nice to try and get that little bit of a buffer, isn't it? Just takes the pressure off. Allows you to throw with a little bit more freedom. But that visit
65.
from Carlin didn't give Payne that freedom.
Must get to a finish. 35 leaves 172. A small single here does not help him. He must find at least a big single.
56.
Well, he's a bit fortunate.
Joshua McGuire, 160.
But this is now Josh for the win. That's a good lie. But pulls it a little bit and leaves himself 81 instead.
Yeah, it was a little bit too much tricep in that
44.
one, and his triceps are
Gavin,
ample. And that treble
151.
3 to score 9 will be music to the ears of Carlin, but again, he needs a treble.
60.
Doesn't get one.
Joshua
This is
requires
getting
72.
very, very edgy, Nico.
One more single. One more double.
52.
And yet again, he misses tops low.
Gavin, you require 91.
Well, been going ball. Will he go that way? 16 for ball. Make sure of the 16. One dart in hand. The 3-3.
Game shot the
And yet
sixth
again,
flag.
the bullseye
Gavin
is his
Carlin.
friend. What a finish that was, Nico, under the cosh.
Wow. When you've been averaging 80 in this final, to be able to do that is nothing short of Herculean. Josh Payne right now will be feeling hollow.
Sick. He had one dart at tops to sew it up. Now he has to go through the ringer all over again.
We're just waiting for the scorecards to be